Chapter 1729. Night Sorrow did not say anything. He knew that Lin Xian'er was right. There were some things that would result in karma the moment one stepped in. Also, the elders of the human race are actually a group of people worthy of respect. This time it was because of an individual black sheep. The great elder hoped that I would persuade you. At that time, I had no choice but to accept. Lin Xian'er said in a low voice. Is that so? Then I can't make things difficult for Sister Xian'er. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Sister Xian'er will arrange everything, but we won't do anything that will cause us to lose out, Night Sorrow said to Lin Xian'er. Thank you, Sister Xian'er, Lin Xian'er said. She originally thought that this matter would be difficult to handle, but she did not expect that Night Sorrow would not refuse once she opened her mouth. What are you thanking me for? Sister Xian'er, you won't cheat me, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes, Sister Xian'er will never cheat you in this life. Lin Xian'er looked at Night Sorrow and said seriously. Sister Xian'er, these words are too serious. Night Sorrow was stunned because Lin Xian'er's words were very serious. It could be said that it was a promise. And then try to walk around the peerless array. Although you can move around in the array, you still have to be careful. Some old demons have very heaven-defying methods. You also know about Guizu's situation. His methods are all linked together. In addition, I have to return to Ethereal City. That day, I asked Wu Feng to come to the City Lord's mansion to propose marriage 3 days later. I ran for more than 2 months and they still couldn't find me. Lin Xian'er reminded Night Sorrow and said with a smile. After Lin Xian'er left Nine Regions City, Night Sorrow also exited the Clear Sky Pagoda. He asked Datura, who was resting in the tea house next to the City Lord's mansion, to bring the Clear Sky Pagoda replica back to Sky City. Night Sorrow, Sister Xian'er is very good to you. She is also alone, so marry her. Datura said. Aluo. Don't talk nonsense, Sister Xian'er will be angry if she hears it. Night Sorrow quickly interrupted Datura's words. She's not talking nonsense. Sikong Chuyu and the others came out of the tea house. What's wrong with you guys? Night Sorrow frowned. He knew that this wasn't a joke. After that, Datura told her about the conversation between Lin Xian'er and her. Do you remember that day when Big Sister Xian'er chased me and beat me up? Because I said something, the two of you hit it off and hooked up with each other. Datura explained the reason why she and Lin Xian'er had fought that day. That's not appropriate. It's not fair to you. We can't make you feel uncomfortable because of others, Night Sorrow said. I'm fine. She's a nice person. She doesn't have an overbearing aura when she's with us. It feels like we've known each other for a long time, Sikong Chuyu said. This has nothing to do with her being nice. I've already wronged you guys enough. Night Sorrow looked at his wives with guilt in his eyes. Rejection is hurt. Night Sorrow, we don't want to see Sister Xian, or walk down the heartless path because of your rejection. Not to mention that she's outstanding, she's also a good person, Datura said. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He suddenly felt a little lost. He couldn't say how he felt about Lin Xian'er, but he didn't want to hurt her. Without saying anything else, Night Sorrow turned and entered the heaven ceiling hall. He needed to think and calm down. Night Sorrow's clone that was trapped by the array formation in the Heaven Desolate Mountain began to move. He already understood the unparalleled array formation. Although he couldn't break it, he could still avoid dangerous and murderous areas. There were still 3 months before the time he had agreed to meet Devil Throat. Night Sorrow had to fight with all his might. His doppelganger had to return if he could. His true body and doppelganger were together. That was his highest combat power. Night Sorrow was confident in himself, but he never underestimated any opponent. He also knew that Demon Throat wasn't simple. He was a member of the Demon Wing Imperial family. Last time, Demon Throat also didn't fight with all his strength. Night Sorrow was very careful as he advanced. This was the Heaven Desolate Mountain. It might be the place where a big shot of the human clan fell. Therefore it was hard to say what would happen here. The unparalleled array formation covered a large area. Night Sorrow didn't even know when he stepped into the array formation. He didn't know how many miles he had advanced. He was currently walking towards the center of the array formation. The human clan's supreme treasure was lost. If there was a chance to find it, he had to find it. No matter who had the treasure, it had to be the human clan. After advancing for a day, Night Sorrow arrived at a special area. It could be said that it was a canyon covered by the Array Formation. There were strong energy fluctuations in the canyon. Night Sorrow carried the space-splitting spear and advanced slowly. If there were energy fluctuations, it meant that there was a situation. He had to investigate it carefully. After advancing for a while, Night Sorrow saw a special scene. There was a big jade-green seal with a diameter of 10 feet. There was silver hair wrapped around it. There was a woman tied to the jade-green seal. The woman was kneeling on the ground. Her legs were pressed under the seal. Above her knees, her back was leaning against the seal. It was as if she was carrying the seal and couldn't move anymore. Xerxes the seal was constantly producing green light energy, tightly binding the woman to the seal. On the light energy, there were golden characters circulating. Night Sorrow recognized the characters. They were the characters of the human Tao scripture, the Book of Tao. The characters were circulating with energy restraints. What was going on? Night Sorrow was stunned. The woman was dressed in black armor. Part of her white hair was coiled on the ground while the other part was wrapped around the seal. She was resisting the light energy on the seal. 3,000 feet of white hair. Night Sorrow could tell the length of the silver hair that was coiled around the woman's body. He didn't go near this area because everything here was unknown. Haha. Emotianji, we humans have arrived here first. This proves that the human race is prosperous. A voice sounded. It was filled with pride and excitement. Yen Wushuang, what's the point of him coming here? What can a piece of trash who isn't even an imperial emperor solve? The woman snorted. Then, her white hair floated up and flew towards Night Sorrow. Her speed was unparalleled, and there were energy blades that tore through space. The space-time domain spread out, and Night Sorrow retreated a bit. Night Sorrow did not dare to get close to the energy attack of the 3,000 feet of white hair. However, he was filled with anger. He had worked hard to become an emperor, but he had still been called trash. Not only had he been looked down upon, but he had also been attacked. Attacking indiscriminately. Why didn't I crush you to death? Night Sorrow scolded when he reached a safe area. Young man, you scolded well. You can't help me now. Hurry up and call the human race's sect elder over. Kill her. Remember, I can only suppress her for 3 days at most. The voice that couldn't be seen said, You're a human? Night Sorrow asked. He wanted to confirm the situation. Chapter 1730. So it's Senior Unparalleled Sword Emperor. What do you want me to do now? Didn't she attack me? Then I'll kill her. After confirming their relationship, Night Sorrow decided to think of a way to kill this heavenly concubine. Haha. An ant dares to boast shamelessly. Even if I don't fight back, do you think you can kill me? Yen Wushuang, you said you can at most suppress me for 3 more days. However, I'll tell you that tonight is the night I, Emotianji, will be free. The black-armored white-haired woman laughed loudly. Following her laughter, the jade-green seal shook. Night Sorrow's expression changed. The clone in the heaven-sealing hall sent someone to Datura and asked him to find Lin Xian. Hurry and inform them. Yen Wushuang's voice was somewhat anxious. Junior was exiled. Because my cultivation isn't enough, I can't withstand the nirvana tide. Therefore I can't return. However, another clone has already contacted them. However, there isn't enough time. Also, my main body is rushing over. Senior, let's think of a way to kill her first. Night Sorrow said. I can't kill her. She is one of the 3 giants of the devil-winged race. Even at my peak, I could only suppress her. Right now, my soul power is barely enough to use the human emperor's seal to control her. Currently, I'm burning my soul power. At most, I can last for 3 more days. Yen Wushuang's words were somewhat powerless. Senior, is there no other way? Although I'm unwilling, I'm a human. Even if my clone is destroyed, I have to kill her. Night Sorrow knew the human emperor's seal was suppressing a giant of the devil-winged race, and made a decision. Human emperor's seal can't be used without a 9-star emperor. In other words, a peak emperor's cultivation. You can't help me. You can't even break her defense by attacking her. Hurry and leave. Inform the human race to prepare for war. This is the underground cavern. She came here to trigger the heaven-desolate earthly fiendish aura in the underground cavern and cancel out the Nirvana Ocean's tide. When that happens, this entire region will be destroyed and there won't be a single living being left. Furthermore, without the Nirvana tide, it will be difficult for the human race to stop the devil-winged race. Sigh. Yan Wushuang's words were a bit hurried, and in the end he let out a sigh. Originally, he thought that Yi Shang was a human tribe cultivator, and would be followed by a human tribe patriarch. Who would have thought that Yi Shang was a cultivator who had been exiled by Tianhuang City? Is there no other way? Was Nirvana desolate earthly fiendish aura earthly fiendish aura earthly fiendish aura? If you want to kill her now, you must have the cultivation of a rank 9 emperor, or the power of a human emperor. Leave quickly. Before my soul power runs out, I will severely injure her, Yan Wushuang said. ID most I5 new D chapter equals previous V. The power of the human sovereign. Yan Wushuang, stop dreaming. There have been bodies of merit and saints of merit in the human race, but that's all in the past. When I go out, I'll make the human race bleed. Anyone who dares to resist will be killed. In the future, the human race will be our devil-winged race's food. Mo Tianji laughed loudly because she was about to escape. Shut up. Why are you talking so much nonsense? You laugh like a wolf. Is it nice? Senior Yan, what is the human emperor's power that you mentioned? Is it related to the merit body? Night Sorrow reprimanded Mo Tianji. Mo Tianji, who was laughing, felt like someone stepped on her neck, because Night Sorrow's scolding was rather harsh. The merit body is the power recognized by the heavenly Tao. The merit body of the human merit monarch has another name, which is human emperor's power. Yan Wushuang explained. Mo Tianji laughed. Her 3,000 feet long white hair fluttered in the wind. She had been suppressed by Yan Wushuang's human emperor's seal for countless years. She was about to escape. Night Sorrow also raised his head and laughed. For him, this was a glimmer of hope. He had the merit body. Even if it wasn't at the merit emperor's level, it was more than the merit body. Human ant, what are you laughing about? Mo Tianji stopped laughing because Night Sorrow's laughter made her hair stand on end. Then what are you laughing about? Night Sorrow stopped laughing and looked at Mo Tianji. I'm about to escape. After I recover, it will be the end of the human race. Mo Tianji's words were filled with killing intent. Then I'll answer you now. What am I laughing about? I'm laughing at you. Stop dreaming. Now you can experience what it means by extreme joy begets sorrow. Senior Yan, although I'm not the merit body, I still have the merit body of a great perfection half-sovereign. Even if I can't kill her, it shouldn't be a problem to trick her, right? Night Sorrow stopped the operation of his leakless true body. Then he activated the merit body and the light of merit from his divine sea. Haha. Mo Tianji, do you know what it means to be prosperous? We've resisted for close to 2 epochs and no outsider has come. The one who came is a human, and a merit body half-sovereign at that. Just admit that you're unlucky. This time, it was Yan Wushuang's turn to laugh. This change in attitude was too sudden. Listening to her laughter, she wants to keep the human race in captivity? Let's kill her now. Senior, what do you want me to do? Night Sorrow looked at the human emperor's seal and asked. Easy. She's on par with me now. The only difference is that I need to burn my soul force. When we fight later, seize the opportunity to get close to the human emperor's seal and pour your merit body into it. I'll use the merit fire to burn this vicious person to death. Yan Wushuang said. You two bastards are dreaming. Mo Tianji furiously roared. At this moment, the human emperor's seal erupted with a dark green radiance. The energy threads constantly tightened around Mo Tianji, wanting to tear her body apart. Mo Tianji couldn't move her body. She could only use her 3,000 feet long white hair to resist the energy from the human emperor's seal. The sound of energy explosions constantly resounded. Night Sorrow made his move. He couldn't get close to the human emperor's seal, so he had to think of a way. He waved his space splitter spear and pierced through the spatial barrier. Normally, Night Sorrow couldn't enter the spatial barrier inside the unparalleled formation, because the formation had strengthened the spatial barrier. But now he could. You guys have fun. I'm leaving. Night Sorrow's body flashed and entered the spatial turbulence. Then he charged into the distance. Haha. Yin Wushuang, your human brat ran away. What a joke. Mo Tianji laughed again because this was a joke to her. Yin Wushuang also laughed. He found it funny that Mo Tianji looked down on Night Sorrow. He knew that Night Sorrow wouldn't leave. He didn't understand Night Sorrow. He trusted the merit demi-sovereign. He knew how difficult it was to become a virtuous saint, let alone a virtuous half-emperor who had surpassed the virtuous grand sage and the virtuous heavenly monarch. He definitely wouldn't let the human race down. He attacked crazily, trying to find a chance for Yishang to close in. Chapter 1731. The human emperor's seal released threads of energy that tried to strangle Mo Tianji. Her white hair danced in the wind, blocking the energy threads. However, whenever her white hair came into contact with the human emperor's seal, it would be stuck. In the past, more than half of her white hair had been controlled by the human emperor's seal. Night Sorrow knew that as long as he lay on the human emperor's seal, Yin Wushuang would take care of him. When he got close to the human emperor's seal, Night Sorrow's left hand slapped toward it. He used the light of virtue hand. Yin Wushuang told him that as long as the light of virtue was on the human emperor's seal, he could activate its power. Damn it! Seeing Night Sorrow appear, Mo Tianji's white hair whipped toward Night Sorrow. The white hair was too fast. Knowing that he could not dodge, Night Sorrow used his space-time domain's spatial fold to block it. He also used his virtuous immortal body to protect himself. He did not dare to be careless against one of the three giants of the Demon Wing clan. Pa! Pa! Continuous explosions rang out. Night Sorrow's space-time domain's spatial fold defense was shattered by Mo Tianji's white hair. Night Sorrow flipped his body and placed the space splitter spear in front of his chest. Then he used his mysterious yellow armor. Mo Tianji was too strong. Just a single strand of her white hair was enough to make him defend with all his might. Whether or not he could block it was still unknown. Pa! The space splitter spear's shaft was broken by Mo Tianji's white hair. After that, the space splitter spear continued toward Night Sorrow's chest. Night Sorrow's expression changed. He knew that the mysterious yellow armor could not block it. There was no chance of luck. Mo Tianji was too strong. His body was about to be cut in half by that strand of white hair. However, at that moment, the human emperor's seal changed. A golden light appeared within the green energy. Then two threads of energy appeared. One blocked Night Sorrow's chest, and the other stuck to Mo Tianji's white hair. Then, it pulled them aside and resolved Night Sorrow's crisis. Old witch, if you don't kill me, I will kill you. Night Sorrow flipped his body and laid on the human emperor's seal. Then, he placed his left hand on the human emperor's seal, and transferred the golden light of merit. At that moment, flames appeared on Mo Tianji's body. They were golden flames. It was the fire of merit. Mo Tianji, aren't you very arrogant? Let's see who will have the last laugh. Brat, hold on. Once you deal with that old witch, the human emperor's seal will be yours. Yin Wushuang laughed loudly. You two bastards, you won't have a good death. I will definitely kill you. Mo Tianji roared. She couldn't withstand it because this was the virtuous soul-extinguishing flame. It was a virtuous fire that was supported by the human emperor's seal. Senior, restrain her. My true body is here. Night Sorrow shouted. At this moment, his true body had already entered the unparalleled formation. Young man, you have a bright future. With a junior like you, how can the human race not prosper? Haha. Yin Wushuang laughed loudly. Yin Wushuang, you despicable person. You burned your soul, and will completely disappear from this world in 3 days. Is it worth it? Let me go and we will fight again in the future. Mo Tianji roared angrily. Back then, you guys surrounded me and destroyed my body. Although it was a body that had its vitality destroyed by the thunder tribulation, I wanted to drag one of you down with me. I hid here and waited. Who would have thought that the unlucky one would be you? You came here to release the baleful qi of heaven and earth. If I didn't trick you, who would I trick? I, Yin Wushuang, don't care about being called a despicable person. Back then, I failed the tribulation of the 7 emperors, and was destined to fall. I relied on the human emperor's seal to live for so many years. It is enough. Today, I will drag you down with me. It is worth it. Yan Wushuang's voice was very loud and filled with an indomitable spirit. Little brat, your true body doesn't need to come in. Go to the eastern divine wind position. There is a cave sealed by a boulder there. My inheritance is inside, as well as some worldly possessions. Your true body can take them and leave. Your avatar can stay here with me and fight her to the death. Yan Wushuang's voice entered Yishang's divine sea. This time it was a soul transmission. The virtuous flames on Mo Tianji's body grew stronger and stronger. Her white face was already red. The virtuous flames not only attacked the body but also the soul. Release your soul power into the human emperor's seal. Before my soul is destroyed, I will help you recognize me as your master. Otherwise, you will not be able to move this human emperor's seal. Yan Wushuang's spiritual voice entered Night Sorrow's divine sea again. S plus Z. Version D plus LT. Although he was a little confused, Night Sorrow still did as he was told. At this moment, Night Sorrow felt a majestic power wrap around his soul power and enter the human emperor's seal. Then, the power flowed through the array within the human emperor's seal. A moment later, he entered a space. There was a figure standing in the space. The figure was tall and slender. His hair was tied up in a bun. He looked like a middle-aged scholar. Night Sorrow controlled his soul power to transform into a human body. Young man, you are very good. After my soul dissipates, you will be the sole master of this human emperor's seal. Your cultivation is low. Although you can use your virtuous powers to activate it, its power is not enough. You will get into trouble because of your wealth. Therefore, do not use the human emperor's seal as you wish. Use it as an auxiliary magic treasure. When you reach the emperor realm, you can let the human emperor's seal shine again in the human world. The middle-aged scholar Yan Wushuang nodded at Night Sorrow. Senior, is there no other way? Night Sorrow asked. When he heard the conversation between Yan Wushuang and Mo Tianji, he knew that Yan Wushuang did not have long to live. No. I failed the tribulation of the 7 emperors and have actually died. Because of the human emperor's seal, this divine artifact of the human emperor's seal, I was able to struggle at death's door. I have already told you about my inheritance. I do not have any requirements for you. When your cultivation is high enough to protect the human emperor's seal and bring it back to the human emperor's seal, you must prove for me that I am not a sinner of the human race. I did not lose the human emperor's seal. If I did not use it, I would not have been able to control Mo Tianji. Senior, you are a sage of the human race. How can you be a sinner? Night Sorrow said emotionally. How can I control the population of the human race? Didn't you, the virtuous half-emperor, get exiled? I do not want to be buried underground with a bad name. Yan Wushuang said. Night Sorrow, as long as I am alive, I will definitely do it. I will definitely clear your name. Night Sorrow bowed. Good. Let's deal with Mo Tianji first. She is the founder of the winged demon race's cultivation civilization. She possesses the fate of the winged demon race. Once we deal with her, the war between the human race and the winged demon race will be easier. Yan Wushuang made hand seals to activate the virtuous light that Night Sorrow brought into the human emperor's seal. Night Sorrow understood. Yan Wushuang used her soul power to guide his soul power around the human emperor's seal. He already understood some of the core formations of the human emperor's seal. Mo Tianji kept screaming. The virtuous fire attacked her soul, making her suffer unspeakably. Her body trembled as she knelt on the ground. Yan Wushuang, I won't waste time with you. But I want to tell you that you have lost. You will die, but I still have a chance to make a comeback. Mo Tianji roared. A shadow rushed out from her head. It also had 3,000 feet of white hair, but it was covered in flames. Chapter 1732. Aha. Mo Tianji, you lost. I know I can't kill you, so I forced you out of your body. That's my goal. The middle-aged man laughed. Ah. Senior, you're not going to kill her? Night Sorrow was shocked. She's an expert who went through the tribulation of the 7 emperors. Even though she's a bit weaker than me, It's impossible for me, a soul without a body, to kill her. She wasn't confident, so her spirit infant left her body and ran away. Move the human emperor's seal away and put her body away. Then find the most secretive place to hide her. Don't let the Demon Wing clan take her back, Yan Wushuang instructed Yi Shang. Knight Sorrow used his soul power to move the human emperor's seal away. He could control it now. With the human emperor's seal away, Mo Tianji's body slumped to the ground. Knight Sorrow used his soul power to put Mo Tianji's body into the 8-dragon cauldron, and used its energy to suppress her. Knight Sorrow saw a hole where the human emperor's seal used to be. The hole was filled with rolling evil qi. We'll talk later. I'll deal with this first. After Yan Wushuang said that, he controlled the human emperor's seal to release a few streams of energy. Then, with these streams of energy as the core, he quickly set up a floating array. It was like a void array disk. Yan Wushuang's soul power floated above the human emperor's seal. His hands kept releasing energy to complete the void array disk. It took him 4 hours. Seal. Yan Wushuang pressed down with his hands, pressing the void array disk into the ground. It's done. 1 day later, the evil qi of heaven and earth will be suppressed and change the channel. It'll be impossible for the demon wings to trigger the evil qi of heaven and earth here. You've helped me get rid of Mo Tianji. It's a great merit for the human race. It's also a great merit for the entire celestial realm, Yan Wushuang said. After he finished setting up the array, his body became a lot fainter. Senior, please return to the human emperor's seal. I'll take you home when I can. Knight Sorrow's voice was choked with sobs. Child, thank you. I've lived for nearly 1 reincarnation cycle, so I've seen through everything. However, I don't understand. You're the virtuous merit half-sovereign. How could you be exiled? Are the patriarchs of the human clan so muddle-headed these days? Yan Wushuang asked. I was tricked. I was dragged out of the dungeon overnight and exiled. I wasn't given a chance to explain myself. Senior, please don't be disappointed. It's just the actions of an individual. Although Knight Sorrow was filled with hatred, he didn't want Yan Wushuang, whose soul was about to disperse, to have any worries or regrets. The sharpness of a treasured sword had to be sharpened. This was not a bad thing. To be able to see you before I disappear, to be able to see the rising star of the human race, I am very happy. Have you found my inheritance? A sword, a storage ring, and nothing else. Yan Wushuang looked at Knight Sorrow and said, I've found it. I'm already here. After saying that, Knight Sorrow's true body appeared and merged with his clone. You can't switch to Sword Dao. However, Sword Dao and Spear Dao have a lot in common. You can study them. In addition, you can make the arrangements for my inheritance. You can impart it to whoever you want. However, if you don't have any strength of character or pride, I won't impart it to anyone, even if they rot in the ground. Yan Wushuang looked at Knight Sorrow and said, Knight Sorrow will remember Senior's arrangement. Knight Sorrow nodded. You cultivate Formation Dao. You don't have any problems cultivating my Formation Dao. Can you call me Master? Yan Wushuang looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Disciple Knight Sorrow greets Master. Knight Sorrow got down on one knee and cupped his fists above his head. Very good. That's enough. I don't have anything to worry about. There are some things, some cultivation experiences and sword techniques. They are all in the storage ring. Give it to me first. Yan Wushuang waved his arm and used his soul power to pull Knight Sorrow up. Knight Sorrow handed Yan Wushuang's storage ring over. Normally speaking, soul power had nothing to do with material energy. Soul power could not support a storage ring. However, high-level cultivators could use their soul power to move the energy of heaven and earth. Thus, it was not a problem for them. Yan Wushuang took out a large piece of golden stone from his storage ring. He then controlled the human sovereign's seal to become the size of a human head, turning it into something similar to a seal. Next, the golden ore melted and poured on the human sovereign's seal. Next, his fingers moved rhythmically and one array after another was carved on it. 1 hour later, Yan Wushuang finished what he was doing. However, the jade green human sovereign seal had turned golden. Update $most coup quickest year. SB, you'll have no problem holding on to it this time. No one will recognize that it's the human sovereign's seal. The human sovereign's seal contains the human sovereign's sacred scripture, the Tao Te Ching. It contains the human race's moral civilization. If you have a conflict with anyone in the human race, just take this and smash them to death. You won't be tainted by karma, nor will your merit be damaged, he said to Night Sorrow. Master, please return to the human emperor's seal. Disciple will think of a way to find heavenly materials and earthly treasures to help you reconstruct your body. Disciple also has the heavenly Tao flower. Yes, Master, quickly use it. This is the petal of the heavenly Tao. Night Sorrow took out a petal of the heavenly Tao flower and handed it to Yan Wushuang. Silly child, Yang Qi said. During the tribulation of the 7 sovereigns, Master destroyed my life force essence. Those Devilwing clan trash aren't qualified to destroy Master's fleshly body. Alright, get out of here. I have no regrets. After saying these words, Yan Wushuang's body shook and disappeared in front of Night Sorrow. He did it cleanly, scattering his soul origin as soon as he said so, without any hesitation at all. Night Sorrow closed his eyes for a moment of silence, then bowed 3 times and left. Peace was restored here. No one knew that there was a confrontation between the human race and the Devilwing clan here. Night Sorrow was in a very low mood because a sage of the human race had fallen. Other than him, no one knew that he had fallen in this heaven-desolate mountain. Night Sorrow swore that he would definitely clear Yan Wushuang's name. Yan Wushuang did not selfishly keep the human emperor's seal, nor did it lose it. Instead, it was used to suppress the Devilwing clan for the human race. Lin Xianer arrived at the Heaven Sealing Hall, but Night Sorrow was fine. The dust had already settled. Sister Xianer, you're here. Let a Luo accompany you today. I'm not in a good mood, so I need some peace and quiet, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. Alright, I won't leave. Call me if you need anything. Lin Xianer knew that something had happened to Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with sorrow. Night Sorrow's main body left the unparalleled formation. The moment he came out, a golden light appeared in the sky. Virtuous golden light. I can't leave. Night Sorrow knew that he couldn't leave this place. If he left the unparalleled formation, he would be easily discovered by the Devilwing clan. If he was discovered by the Devilwing clan, he would be dead. Night Sorrow returned to the unparalleled formation in 2 flashes, then went to the core area of the formation and sat down cross-legged. At this time, golden lotuses were floating in the sky, and the sound of nature reverberated. However, the sound of nature was mixed with sorrowful cries. At this time, not only the heaven-desolate mountain, but the heaven-desolate city and the human race's celestial realm were also filled with golden lotuses. The human race's elders in the heaven-desolate city all gathered in the divination hall and began to perform divination. Chapter 1733. At this moment, Night Sorrow's heart was filled with sadness. Coupled with the fact that he was exiled, anger rose in his heart. In the past, Night Sorrow couldn't sense other people's divination. But now, he could clearly sense that someone was watching him. This was the power of the deluxe Merit Emperor. Therefore, when he punched, the projection collapsed, causing the diviner to bleed from the corner of his mouth. The diviner stood up and said, Lords, I can't perform the divination anymore. What's going on, Deluxe Merit Emperor? Lu Qi looked at the Grand Elder. Yes, the problem is serious. We don't know how we provoked him again. His heart is filled with anger. His eyes were filled with sadness just now. The sound of nature was filled with sorrow. That's his state of mind. The Grand Elder said. That's strange. We didn't provoke him. It's just a divination. There's no need for him to be so angry. Did something happen to him in the array formation that caused him to be dissatisfied with us? Gu Qi said suspiciously. It's very possible. Elder Zhaixing, don't perform the divination anymore. The Deluxe Merit Emperor isn't someone you can casually pry into. He has the power of the human sovereign. To a certain extent, his will is in order. His thoughts can't be disobeyed. The Grand Elder said. Our human race has never had a Deluxe Merit Emperor. Aren't we going to bring him back? Gu Qi asked. We'll talk about this later. Inform all the human elders in Tianhuang City for a meeting. The Grand Elder said. After Night Sorrow punched, golden light rippled in all directions. Night Sorrow felt that he had broken something. He understood that the divination had been interrupted. This was the power of virtue of the deluxe merit emperor. After solving this problem, Night Sorrow sat down cross-legged and began to collect the deluxe merit golden lotuses falling from the sky. More deluxe merit golden lotuses fell from the 9-domain world. The sound of nature was heard, but it carried a sad aura. In front of the heaven ceiling hall, Night Sorrow sat cross-legged and collected the power of virtue descending from heaven and earth. Inside the Tianhuang mountain, Night Sorrow's original body and his avatar sat separately. They circulated the leakless true body and gathered the light of merit. This lasted for 4 hours before the world quieted down. Night Sorrow also stood up. He had completely retracted his light of virtue. After sensing it, Night Sorrow discovered that his body was completely soaked in the light of virtue. Whether it was his flesh, blood, bones, or divine sea, they were all shining with a golden light. His bones had become true lustrous golden bones. Exhaling twice, Night Sorrow planned to find a safe place to stabilize himself and study his own body. Then he would finish his battle with Demon Throat. After the battle, he would hide and cultivate in peace. Mo Tianji's escape was a hidden danger, and the golden light that filled the sky had caused a huge commotion. In addition, he had killed many Demon Wings race members. With these factors added together, it was normal for the Demon Winged clan to come to the heavenly desolate mountain to search and capture people. The Peerless formation was very powerful, but if the other party came to find them, and if there was really a supreme powerhouse, the formation wasn't omnipotent. After leaving the Peerless formation, Night Sorrow didn't return to his cultivation base. Instead, he went to the teleportation array closest to his cultivation base. After taking the teleportation crystal from the array, he smashed the clear sky pagoda into the ground and began cultivating. The body of virtue had become the virtuous emperor. If he wanted to transform the power of virtue into strength, he first had to strengthen the virtuous immortal body, and then use the virtuous hand. In the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow's avatar stood up and nodded to his wife. Virtuous Emperor? Lin Xian looked at Night Sorrow. Yes. When you have time, ask Brother Wufeng to come over. I will help him deal with the cold poison in his body. Aluo, ask Aunt Fei to come over when she has time. I will also give it a try, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, what happened? Why are you not in a good mood? Datura looked at Night Sorrow and asked. It's just that I'm a bit emotional and touched. Yishang nodded. Your punch injured the heavenly desolate city's divination master. Now the human clan's elders are in a meeting, Lin Xian said. I don't care. I don't care what they want to do. Night Sorrow's eyes were filled with sadness. Can you tell me what happened? Lin Xianer asked. I saw a human clan sage fall in front of me. If the human clan had taken action earlier, Master wouldn't be like this. He has been fighting alone for countless years by burning his soul. Night Sorrow growled. Master? What happened to 13? Yang Lei grabbed Night Sorrow's shoulder and asked. Yishang told him about Yan Wushuang's matter and her death. That's right. If the human clan had advanced over the years and taken the initiative to fight, they might have discovered the existence of the Peerless formation. Then these things wouldn't have happened. It's too painful to keep burning one's soul to fight, Lin Xianer said. I will tell you the results of their meeting. Also, don't be too sad. This is fate. Fortunately, you rushed there in time and didn't let Senior Yan's efforts go to waste. According to Senior Yan, Mo Tianji's clone was destroyed and her original body was suppressed. This time, her nascent soul left her body and her injuries were very serious, Lin Xian said. Yes, I am just a little sad. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood some things, but his heart was touched more. It's a good thing that we got the human emperor's seal. Let's keep this matter to ourselves. Even if the human clan's elders ask, they won't know, Lin Xianer said. Hearing Lin Xianer's words, everyone nodded. This matter was more serious. Sister Xian, let me know if there's anything. I'm going to cultivate. Night Sorrow nodded to them, and entered the heaven ceiling hall. Seeing the human clan sages fall after countless years of hard work, it's inevitable that Night Sorrow will feel sad. Let's wait and see first, Lin Xianer said. In the Tianhuang city's conference hall, All the human clan's elders had arrived. The Grand Elder sent someone to call Lin Piamiao, who originally didn't participate. Normally, she didn't have enough experience and wasn't qualified to attend. 2. Everyone has seen what happened today. We humans have an unprecedented merit emperor. This is a big deal. What do you all think? The Grand Elder asked. Yes. You're right. Grand Elder, the birth of the virtuous emperor proves that the human clan's luck has arrived. We should bring him back now, Guqi said. I can't make the decision on this matter. It was the City Lord's decision to let him come back after the Nirvana tide. Before the City Lord gives a new order, we can only follow the previous order. The Grand Elder shook his head. Grand Elder, Knight Sorrow has a very bad impression of the human clan's elders. Today he waved his hand and said those words. Also, our fortune teller should stop divining. If he becomes the virtuous emperor, he will be aware of the divining, and it will make him even more annoyed. Things will get out of hand. He's not giving us any face now, Emperor Tang said. Chapter 1734. Commander Lin, have you seen him before? What's the situation now? The Grand Elder looked at Lin Piamiao. Yes, he's not in a good condition now. Lin Piamiao said. Is he in danger? Lu Qi stood up. I don't know. Piamiao is talking about the state of mind. Tell the elders. Unparalleled Sword Emperor fell in front of Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow saw his soul dissipate with his own eyes. For countless years, the peerless Sword Emperor burned his soul to fight against the Demon Wing clan's powerhouses, even though his physical body had perished. Personally, seeing the peerless Sword Emperor die in front of him was a huge blow to Yishan, said Lin Piamiao. Unparalleled Sword Emperor's battle strength is shocking. We humans should admire that. But he disappeared with the human emperor's seal. He's a sinner of the human race. A human elder said. Law enforcement elderly, is this appropriate? Back then, Unparalleled Sword Emperor's body was destroyed. Would he covet the human emperor's seal? He fought for the human race. Before the human race confirmed the death of Unparalleled Sword Emperor, and knew that he went to Infinite Wasteland to fight against the Demon-Winged clan. Did they search for him? Did they send reinforcements? If we had searched earlier, Unparalleled Sword Emperor's soul wouldn't have been destroyed. Hearing this law enforcement elderly who had just brought a group of elites from the human race, Lin Piamiao was dissatisfied. Do you have the right to talk about these things as a commander? Whether he's a sinner or not, is that something you can say? The blue-robed law enforcement elderly glared at Lin Piamiao. So what if I'm a commander? The status of a human elder isn't used to oppress others. It doesn't matter if you look down on me. I also look down on people who use their status to oppress others. Lin Piamiao sneered. Alright, everyone stop arguing. Let's discuss this slowly. The Grand Elder shook his head at Lin Piamiao. Alright, let's not talk about Yan Wushuang first. Is the human emperor's seal in Knight Sorrow's hands? Where is he? Our human elders will go and retrieve the human emperor's seal. Law enforcement elderly said. Lin Piamiao turned her head to one side. Since she didn't say anything, no one else answered. Lin Piamiao, I'm asking you a question. Enforcer elderly stood up, his eyes filled with rage. His words were directed at Lin Piamiao, but Lin Piamiao ignored him. Hee, you banished them and didn't care if they lived or died. Then, if there are treasures, as long as they are treasures, you don't need to talk about how to deal with them. You're really good. Go ask Knight Sorrow. Why are you asking me? Don't ask me, and don't yell at me, lest you embarrass yourself. Hearing Elder Li's words, Lin Piamiao was so angry that she laughed. She didn't care who was shouting at her. How dare you? Do you have any respect for your seniors? Is there still any human clan elders association? Law enforcement elderly couldn't maintain his composure anymore. You're the superior one, and I'm the inferior one. What are you? Are you trying to find a sense of existence on me, Lin Piamiao? What do you want? If you want to fight, then come. Lin Piamiao's right hand gripped the hilt of her long sword. Original version % first issue Li Zongyuan. What's wrong with you? Do you have to show off in front of Lin Piamiao? Lin Piamiao is brave just because she said a few words of truth? Qin Qianjie spoke. Li Zongyuan was law enforcement elderly. Does she have any respect for the human clan elders? Li Zongyuan looked at Qin Qianjia. Lower your attitude. Commander Lin was invited by the Grand Elder to participate in the Human Clan Elders Association. The birth of the human clan's virtuous great emperor is a big matter. We should pay attention to it. Talent is the foundation. Must we force her to dislike our Human Clan Elders Association? Lu Qi said. Knight Sorrow received the unparalleled sword sovereign's inheritance, and is also a disciple of his master. If anyone says that the unparalleled sword sovereign is a sinner, I don't know what Knight Sorrow will think, but it definitely won't be a good thing. Lin Piaomiao said. We can't divine it. We don't know what's going on with him. Let nature take its course, the Grand Elder said. Then the Human Clan Elders Association dispersed. The Grand Elder called Lu Qi and Lin Piaomiao to the small world of his tower. Commander Lin, are you still angry? The Grand Elder looked at Lin Piaomiao and asked. No, I just feel that the world has changed. Lin Piaomiao said. Whether it's a merit or a crime, there's a public opinion. It's not decided by just one person. There's a sad atmosphere in the sound of nature. It's obvious that this matter has a great impact on Knight Sorrow. It's been hard on you to comfort him, the Grand Elder said. It's nothing. I'll try my best. Lin Piaomiao nodded. Time and time again, Knight Sorrow is becoming more and more disappointed in our Tianhuang city. The human clan's virtuous great emperor is also disappointed in us. What's going on? Lu Qi sighed. In Tianhuang Mountain, the Clear Sky Pagoda was underground. Knight Sorrow's original body and doppelganger were both diligently cultivating. The original body integrated the light of virtue into the void space-time domain, while the doppelganger used the domain for actual combat. Their cultivation did not interfere with each other's. Knight Sorrow's original body and doppelganger were not on the same floor in the Clear Sky Pagoda. The doppelganger's actual combat practice would not affect the original body's cultivation. There were still 2 months before the battle with Demon Throat. Knight Sorrow could not estimate how much Demon Throat's strength had improved. He already knew that Demon Throat was a member of the Demon Wing clan's royal family. Accelerated cultivation was naturally not a problem, and he would not lack resources. Since he did not lack resources and time for cultivation, it was difficult to predict the current situation of Demon Throat, who had not displayed his full strength at that time. Next was the battle to the death. With the acceleration of the Clear Sky Pagoda, Knight Sorrow still had a lot of time. Now that no one was divining his future, the human race elders in Tianhuang City knew that spying on the virtuous emperor was against the heavenly Tao. If they angered the virtuous emperor, they would suffer a backlash, and the consequences would be severe. Lin Xian stayed in the 9 regions world mainly because she could be the first to know about Knight Sorrow's situation. However, in reality, Knight Sorrow stayed in the heaven-sealing Great Hall and did not come out. He had been studying array formations all this time. Wu Fing and Song Ning arrived at 9 regions city. The two were already engaged, and Datura had also arranged a residence for them in 9 regions world. Knowing the situation in 9 regions world, they understood that Knight Sorrow was taking a risk and had absolute trust in him. The two threw out the heavenly Tao oath that they would never do anything that would harm 9 regions world. Knowing that Knight Sorrow had entered the virtuous emperor level, Song Ning and Wu Fing were very happy. This allowed Wu Fing to see the light of curing the cold poison in his body. Although the cold poison in Wu Fing's body was not fatal, it had a great impact. With the cold poison in his body, even if he got married, he would not have children. In addition, it would also affect his cultivation and future achievements. Although they were excited, they did not call for Knight Sorrow to come out of seclusion. This was because they knew that this was an unusual time for Knight Sorrow. While drinking tea, Lin Xian gave Song Ning some instructions. Chapter 1735. What's wrong? Do they dare to touch our ethereal dynasty? Song Ning said with a frown. Be on guard. They are all elders of the human race, so it's hard to say what they will do. Therefore, it's best to be cautious. Star Moon Lake must be guarded carefully. Knight Sorrow's appearance will cause the ethereal dynasty to become an unstable region, and Star Moon Lake is the core of this region, Lin Xian'er said. Got it. Wu Feng and I'll send our clones to Star Moon City. We'll kill whoever comes. If we can't kill them, come and get Sister Xian'er. Song Ning was in a good mood, because Wu Feng's problem was about to be solved. The power of virtue was vast and majestic, but there were no laws or attributes in it. Therefore, the fusion with the domain was only a buff. It wasn't difficult. Night Sorrow used half a month in the real world to complete it. When needed, Night Sorrow could use the virtuous void spacetime domain. Normally, it would be the virtuous void spacetime domain, and he could switch it at any time. After his power of virtue had leveled up and stabilized, Night Sorrow connected the teleportation array and returned to the stronghold he stole from Demon Throat. He then dismantled the teleportation array. When he wanted to leave, he could use the teleportation array disk. If there was a problem with the teleportation array, it would be unwise to let the Demon Wing clan know about it. Releasing the Clear Sky Pagoda, Night Sorrow began to cultivate. Now his spacetime domain had reached 18%, his void domain had reached 12%, and his destruction domain had reached 40%. There was a lot of room for improvement, so he had to improve it if he had the chance. In a month in the real world, Night Sorrow could cultivate for more than 4 years. As for safety, Night Sorrow wasn't worried. There was an illusion array here, and he still had the teleportation array disk in his hand. If Demon Throat used a sneak attack, he could directly teleport away. As for breaking the array, although a high-level emperor could break it, it would take time. By then, Night Sorrow would have escaped. As the time of the battle approached, Night Sorrow felt a little regretful because there wasn't enough time for him to break through to the 2-star Emperor realm. He had never thought that his cultivation speed was already the best in the world. Every monarch cultivated for months and years, and relied on the accumulation of time. If others knew about his cultivation speed, their jaws would definitely drop to the ground in shock. In addition, after entering the virtuous Emperor realm, Night Sorrow's body had a special situation. In the past, the lightning tribulation had left 3 traces of destructive energy in Night Sorrow's body. There was also a trace of energy that was filled with vitality. It was very weak and didn't react at all. However, as the body of Merit entered the Emperor realm, Night Sorrow's flesh, blood, bones, and veins were all filled with the light of Merit. Therefore, this energy was nourished and strengthened. Night Sorrow couldn't analyze what element it was. It was different from the element he knew. More than a month had passed in the blink of an eye. Night Sorrow stopped the illusory killing array he had arranged and strengthened it. He and Lin Xian'er had been cultivating array formations in the subbody of the Clear Sky Pagoda. Although the time spent wasn't very long, the results were great. Lin Xian'er explained from the foundation and from the principles of array formation. Night Sorrow's array formation standards had already surpassed the level of alchemy and weapon refinement. He was already a mid-level Emperor Master, which was also a Monarch-level Emperor Master. Emperor Masters were also divided into ranks. According to the difference in levels, there were 3 ranks: low-level, mid-level, and high-level. The corresponding titles were Monarch-level Emperor Master, Monarch-level Emperor Master, and Emperor-level Emperor Master. Night Sorrow's alchemy and weapon refinement were at the low-level Emperor Master level, which was also Monarch-level Emperor Master level. However, his array formation cultivation was already Monarch-level Emperor Master. Night Sorrow's soul power was strong, far surpassing cultivators of the same level. His deduction ability was strong. In addition, Lin Xian'er didn't hold back in her explanation. Night Sorrow's array formation cultivation naturally rose. Lin Xian'er already had feelings in her heart. How could she not teach him seriously? Night Sorrow stopped the illusory killing array to give Mo Ho a chance to approach. Of course, if he detected other Demon Wing clan members coming, Night Sorrow would activate the array formation and then slip away. On this day, Night Sorrow's main body stopped cultivating and also kept the Clear Sky Pagoda. Because he was practicing his battle strength, his clone that was cultivating soul extinguishing / detected Mo Ho's appearance. He wasn't alone. There were 2 Demon Wing clan elders that Night Sorrow couldn't detect. The 3 of them stopped when they were 30,000 miles away from Night Sorrow. This was the limit of an emperor's detection. Normally, an emperor wouldn't be able to detect them. Night Sorrow could detect them because he had been paying attention to the cultivation of his soul power all these years. It was also because of his good foundation that his spirit sea expanded a lot when he cultivated the myriad Tao treasured tome. Night Sorrow's body was at the 9th level. It had already exceeded the range of the myriad Tao treasured tome. However, he had also figured out the direction of cultivation. That was to transform his body into energy. His flesh and blood were energy, so were his body and bones. This way, some attacks couldn't touch his body and couldn't destroy the energy in his body. Although there was still a path to walk, Night Sorrow already had a clear direction. In fact, his body already had some abilities. For example, when he punched out, it had the attack characteristics of the virtuous void domain. It had the power of heaven and earth and Tao presence. This was a realm that no one had reached. Even the author of the myriad Tao treasured tome didn't reach Night Sorrow's level. The myriad Tao treasured tome was blank when it reached the heaven monarch realm, let alone the 9th level. Night Sorrow didn't have the time or energy. He should reorganize and rewrite the myriad Tao treasured tome until it reached the Varch realm. That would be a complete inheritance in sect. Cultivating the myriad Tao treasured tome was more difficult. However, as the 9 regions world's level increased, elixirs and resources were sufficient. The myriad Tao treasured tome was no longer an untouchable realm. Of course, without great perseverance and perseverance, one couldn't cultivate it. The process was too painful. When Night Sorrow thought about it, his heart turned cold. After detecting that Demon Throat had brought people here, Night Sorrow smiled. This time, there was no need for a gentleman's battle. It was a battle of life and death between the races. After the 2 elders detected Night Sorrow, they communicated with Demon Throat. Night Sorrow knew that it must be a scheme against him. Night Sorrow kept the clear sky pagoda and began to prepare for battle. Under normal circumstances, Night Sorrow should leave. This was because Demon Throat had brought people here. To him, it was already a threat. It was no longer rational to accept the battle. However, Night Sorrow had his own thoughts and plans. Demon Throat was a member of the royal family of the Demon Wing race. He was a rising star with great potential. If he could kill him, it would be a great harvest. The battle between the younger generation of the human race and the Demon Wing race was also a battle of luck. As for the danger, Night Sorrow also had his own considerations. The 2 elders of the Demon Wing race were 30,000 miles away from him. Although they were fast, they still needed some time to arrive. This time was enough for Night Sorrow to activate the array and retreat. Demon Throat had arrived. Because the array had been shut down, Demon Throat had successfully arrived within 300 meters of Night Sorrow. I thought you had already left. It seems like you are really not afraid of death. You dare to wait here for 3 years. Demon Throat sized up Night Sorrow. Chapter 1736. Haha. What should I say about you? I didn't want to fight to the death with you last time. I can tell you the reason. It's because I still have important things to do. Getting injured will affect me and affect my ranking in the clan. Even if you didn't come last time, I would have returned. So, I simply let you have my territory for 3 years. Now that I'm back and you still haven't left, you're courting death. Demon Throat looked at Night Sorrow as if he was looking at a fool. I've always respected my opponent, but you don't deserve my respect. Courting death? I'm afraid you don't have the right to say that. Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear to the side. Go to hell. Demon Throat flapped his wings and charged towards Night Sorrow. His speed was extremely fast, much faster than last time. Shameless boasting. Night Sorrow activated his void space-time domain and waved his left hand. A void heaven-covering hand slammed towards Demon Throat. In the past, Night Sorrow's heaven-covering hand was powered by the power of Desolates. After the power of Desolates evolved into the power of time, the fusion of time and space attributes, forming the space-time attribute, it had never been used. Now that it was powered by the void energy, it was much stronger than the power of Desolates. The purple energy hand slammed towards Demon Throat. Demon Throat's saber trembled, and a shadow appeared on the saber. With a roar, it charged towards Night Sorrow's energy hand. After a loud explosion, Night Sorrow and Demon Throat separated. Not bad. Then you still have to die. Demon Throat roared and charged towards Night Sorrow again. Shut up. You were the one who ran away last time. How dare you speak nonsense again? I hate people like you. If I knew you were like this, I wouldn't have let you go last time. I would have spared your dog life. Night Sorrow was a little angry. He hated people who boasted. Night Sorrow and Demon Throat fought in the air. They were evenly matched. Night Sorrow's body was tough, but Demon Throat's true chi was abundant. He was already a peak 2-star emperor, one whole level higher than Night Sorrow. In addition, the Demon Wing clan's body was also very strong. Night Sorrow knew why Demon Throat boasted. Last time, Demon Throat didn't have such strength. He was hiding his strength. The two Demon Wing clan's elders have been watching and did not move. They believed in Demon Throat's strength. He was a descendant of the Demon Wing clan's royal family. Unable to gain the upper hand in a head-on clash, Demonic Throat let out a low growl. Following that, his body split into two. Both his main body and his avatar appeared. Energy phantoms appeared behind both of them. That was the totem of the Demon Wing clan's ancestor. When the Demon Wing clan's cultivation technique was cultivated to a certain level, the totem would appear. It would also increase one's strength. Both the original body and the clone went out to fight. Demon Throat wanted to completely kill Night Sorrow. Demon Throat's main body forced Night Sorrow to retreat with a single slash. With the totem's increase, Demon Throat's combat strength had indeed increased a lot. Night Sorrow, who had received some shock, added the power of virtue to his domain. Suppress. Night Sorrow roared. His clone appeared. Then he and his clone used Soul Extinguishing Slash to kill Demon Throat's main body. Then he and his clone attacked Demon Throat's main body at the same time. They used their lost skills, Destruction True Dragon Secret Art. Night Sorrow planned to kill Demon Throat quickly, and then retreat. After all, there were two Demon Wing clan's elders, whose cultivation he couldn't see, following Demon Throat. If he let Demon Throat be at a disadvantage first, the other party would rush over to support him. Not only would he not be able to kill Demon Throat, but he would also be in danger. Night Sorrow's soul attack was launched. Demon Throat's soul power also burst forth. The halos on his and his clone's horns pulsed rhythmically, and flew toward Night Sorrow's Soul Extinguishing / Crescent Moon blade. The remaining halos also flew toward Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow and his clone activated the 9 regions origin beads and Green Lotus Jade bracelet to defend their divine sea. Then they continued to rush forward. The Reincarnation Spear and Space Splitter Spear's tips emitted black halos that enveloped the surroundings. Naturally, Demon Throat's main body and his clone were also enveloped. Night Sorrow's Space Splitter Spear was broken by Mo Tianji's white hair. He simply reconnected it. He didn't spend much effort, because he wanted to find time to upgrade his weapon. His current refining technique was at the Elementary Monarch realm, but his Array Dao cultivation was already at the Monarch realm. There was a lot of room for improvement in his refining technique. Therefore, he simply reconnected it just to make do with it. When Night Sorrow's power of virtue was added to the Void domain, the domain's power suddenly increased greatly. Demon Throat's domain was directly suppressed and retracted to his side. It was similar to a protective air shield. After suppressing both Demon Throat's main body and his clone, Night Sorrow's main body and his clone attacked Demon Throat's main body. The main body used the Void Extreme Point kill, while the clone used the Void Origin kill. Break! After being suppressed, Demon Throat roared and propped up his domain outwards. He knew that Night Sorrow had made his move. He had to reverse the current situation. However, at this moment, Night Sorrow's attack arrived. Demon Throat could only wave his battle blade to block. Following a muffled sound, Night Sorrow's clone's attack was blocked by Demon Throat's battle blade. At this moment, Night Sorrow's main body flashed and attacked Demon Throat's main body, which was retreating. At the same time, both the main body and his clone's left hand slapped out with the void covering hand towards Demon Throat's clone. Controlling Demon Throat's clone and killing Demon Throat's main body was Night Sorrow's tactic. Permanent SD free to look at small U8 Demon Throat's main body was bleeding from the corner of his mouth. His soul was affected and he couldn't fully release his true chi. He was already injured by Night Sorrow's clone's Void Origin kill. Night Sorrow's two soul-extinguishing crescent moon slash were still slashing towards his deity sea. At this moment, Night Sorrow's main body's reincarnation spear shook, and the destructive True Dragon art was unleashed once more. Devil Throat's main body was affected by the black halo of Annihilation True Dragon's secret art. His aura immediately dissipated. Seeing that he was about to be attacked, Devil Throat's doppelganger, who was still conscious, grew anxious. The wings on his back trembled, and he practically teleported to block Night Sorrow's attack. In that case, I'll kill your clone first before killing your main body. Night Sorrow's main body and the clone that rushed over attacked together. The clone executed the Great Emperor reincarnation slash, while the main body executed the destructive True Dragon art. Demon Throat's clone, who used his blade to block Night Sorrow's main body's attack, was naturally affected by the destructive True Dragon art, and the Great Emperor reincarnation slash unleashed by Night Sorrow's clone. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear seemed to have shuttled through space, and appeared directly in front of Demon Throat's clone's chest, piercing through his body. Explode! At this moment, Demon Throat's main body, who had regained his consciousness, roared. Then his clone swelled up and exploded. The self-explosion of a two-star emperor was too terrifying. Night Sorrow's main body and clone were sent flying. This was because Night Sorrow's domain and body were tyrannical. Otherwise, they would be destroyed by the explosion. Disperse! Night Sorrow used the power of the virtuous emperor's verbal law to pacify the violent energy. However, Demon Throat's true body had already fled. The wings on his back flapped, and he was extremely fast. He had already left the array formations area. Night Sorrow got up and chased after him for 2 steps. Then he quickly threw out the Holy Spirit Stone and activated the illusion array. The 2 old men brought by Demon Throat were already rushing over. Chapter 1737. Night Sorrow had no choice but to run. If he chased after Demon Throat, the 2 experts brought by Demon Throat would approach the battlefield before he could catch up. By then, Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to leave even if he wanted to. Before leaving, Night Sorrow didn't forget to grab Demon Throat's weapon and undamaged storage ring. Normally, a powerful explosion would destroy a storage ring. Perhaps because of Night Sorrow's energy, Demon Throat's storage ring wasn't destroyed. After teleporting once, Night Sorrow removed the teleportation array and changed the crystal on the teleportation array disk before teleporting again. After a few teleportations, Night Sorrow returned to his first stronghold at the Nirvana seaside. Removing the first teleportation array was for insurance. Night Sorrow didn't remove the teleportation arrays at the back. The Heaven Desolate mountain was huge. It wouldn't be easy to find a cultivator who was deliberately hiding. Furthermore, Night Sorrow had a spatial treasure to hide himself. It wouldn't be easy to find him. After arriving at the stronghold at the Nirvana seaside, Night Sorrow changed the teleportation crystal on the teleportation array disk. Night Sorrow already had plans. After dealing with Demon Throat, he would cultivate at the Nirvana seaside. He would cultivate while enduring the Nirvana tide to comprehend the worldly momentum. The Nirvana tide contained the worldly momentum of many attributes. Night Sorrow didn't choose this place at first because the Nirvana tide was too violent. His cultivation was too low and it wasn't suitable for him to cultivate here. Now that he had become an emperor through merit, his space-time and nothingness attributes had improved. His strength had increased greatly, so he could try it at the Nirvana seaside. He would have to come into contact with the Nirvana tide in the future. If he didn't, he wouldn't be able to return to the Heaven Desolate City, the Ethereal Empire, and the 9-domain world. However, before that, Night Sorrow had to erase the soul imprint on Demon Throat's storage ring and weapon. Otherwise, Night Sorrow would be able to sense it. Although it was suppressed in the Clear Sky Pagoda, and it wouldn't be easy to find his location, he had to deal with it first just in case. Demon Throat's cultivation was higher than Night Sorrow's, but his soul power was not as strong as Night Sorrow's. After trying to refine it, Night Sorrow realized that Demon Throat's soul imprint was still very stubborn. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow took out the human sovereign's seal and infused it with the power of merit, activating the array within the human sovereign's seal. The power of merit transformed into a flame of merit, which he channeled into Demon Throat's storage ring and weapon. The power of the fire of virtue was beyond Night Sorrow's imagination. In just a moment it had erased the soul imprint on Demon Throat's weapon and storage ring. KJ knew 9M. Soon as then, Night Sorrow entered the 8-Dragon Cauldron and looked at Mo Tianji's corpse, which was wrapped up by the weapon spirit's energy. Mo Tianji's corpse was also an unstable factor, but Night Sorrow had no way to deal with it. He couldn't destroy it at all. He had tried, but weapons couldn't enter her body. This meant that Mo Tianji's level was very high. Night Sorrow had studied it. It wasn't that Mo Tianji's body was very strong, but that there was a layer of protective energy inside her body that he couldn't break. In other words, there was something similar to a mark on Mo Tianji's body. Since he couldn't destroy it, Night Sorrow could only suppress it. The safest way was to return to the celestial realm's human territory as soon as possible. That way, it would be difficult for the demon-winged race to snatch it back. However, Night Sorrow couldn't return now. How could he ask the human race's elders? He didn't want to be involved with the human race's elders anymore. He would do what he could and what he couldn't do. As long as he didn't die, he would be able to survive. Worried about his safety, Night Sorrow communicated with Shao Kong and the weapon spirit of the 8-Dragon Cauldron. Then he kept the 8-Dragon Cauldron in the Clear Sky Pagoda and used 2 spatial magic treasures to suppress it. He isolated other people's senses and Mo Tianji's aura. Then Night Sorrow's clone stayed in the stronghold while his main body flew towards the Nirvana Ocean. When he arrived at the Nirvana Ocean, Night Sorrow saw the Nirvana Ocean waves that were hundreds of feet tall. It was caused by the Nirvana Immortal Wind. Sitting down cross-legged, Night Sorrow began to comprehend the power of heaven and earth contained within the Nirvana tide. However, at this moment he sensed something. Night Sorrow stood up and threw out a punch that shone with golden light. No matter who wants to do divination, you can't. Night Sorrow understood that someone had used divination on him. To be able to sense it in advance was an ability he gained after entering the virtuous Emperor realm. At this moment, in a city, an old man who was sitting cross-legged spat out a mouthful of blood. This subordinate is useless. Prince, please punish me. The old man stood up and bowed towards Mo Ho, who was sitting by the side. The image wasn't clear just now. Why did it disappear? Mo Ho's face was filled with anger. Behind him were 2 old men who were filled with killing intent. He has a method to prevent divination. Therefore, this subordinate couldn't do it. The black-robed old man, who was also the divination master of the devil-winged race, said. Mo Ho waved his hand. He was extremely angry now. He had suffered a loss. His clone was destroyed in the devil-winged race's territory. This was a great humiliation. Additionally, Mo Ho was clear that if it wasn't for his 2 subordinates, Night Sorrow would have destroyed his main body. Prince, if you can't do it, then send someone to search. The human race didn't attack the Heaven Desolate Mountain. He came here on his own. If he didn't run back, then we can dig him out. One of the old men said. This kid is very cunning. He is an array Emperor Master. He can set up illusion arrays and teleportation arrays. It won't be easy to catch him. Although he was very angry, Mo Ho didn't lose his mind. Then what should we do? The old man who spoke asked. Since divination is ineffective, we'll mobilize experts to search for him. Send clansmen with higher soul power than him to scout the Mount Tianhuang. Then we'll set up a trap and catch him off guard. We won't give him a chance to escape using formations, Demon Throat said. The old man nodded and went to make the arrangements. Mo Ho was the prince of the devil-winged race and had the authority to mobilize the devil-winged race's army. It wouldn't be a problem to mobilize some imperial emperors into the Heaven Desolate Mountain. In addition, the devil-winged race already knew that some of their clansmen had died in the Heaven Desolate Mountain. They also began to clean up the Heaven Desolate Mountain. However, Night Sorrow had already left the Heaven Desolate Mountain. He had expected some things. In the following days, Night Sorrow planned to steadily improve his cultivation. He was anxious to leave the Heaven Desolate Mountain, but being anxious wouldn't solve the problem. He had to have the ability to withstand the Nirvana tide. Night Sorrow took out the Clear Sky Pagoda and placed it on the Nirvana seaside. He sat at the top of the Clear Sky Pagoda and watched the nirvana waves and nirvana divine wind as he began to comprehend. While his main body was cultivating in the heaven desolate mountain, Night Sorrow's clone in the heaven-sealing great hall began to cultivate refining skills. He wanted to improve his refining skills. It was very difficult to cultivate alchemy and refining skills. He had to have materials. Night Sorrow had accumulated a lot of materials. Over the years he had been fighting and robbing. He had accumulated a lot of materials. When he looted nearly 200 cities in the East How Mountain, he had earned a lot of materials. Night Sorrow didn't want to cultivate alchemy for the time being. The main reason was that the inheritance wasn't good enough. Cultivating alchemy now would be a waste of materials. As for refining skills, Lin Xian had taught him a lot when he was cultivating array formations. She had also imparted some refining skills, so he could cultivate them. Chapter 1738. The heaven desolate mountain was turned upside down. The demon wing race's experts were sent out to search for Night Sorrow's traces in the heaven desolate mountain. However, Night Sorrow had already disappeared and started to cultivate. Time slipped away in this state. Year after year, day after day. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. Night Sorrow had comprehended 20% of his space-time attribute and entered the 2-star Emperor realm. He had also comprehended 15% of his void attribute. The increase in the realms of these 2 attributes caused Night Sorrow's domain power to increase by a lot. In addition, his comprehension of the destruction of heaven and earth was also very high. This was because the destruction of waves and destruction of winds contain the strongest destructive intent. Night Sorrow was working hard and waiting. When the destruction domain was truly formed, he would be able to advance towards the level 4 domain power. Although his cultivation was low, Night Sorrow believed that his domain power would be very strong. This was because the 4 attributes were all tyrannical. Void and destruction were the 2 supreme attributes. Time and space were the strongest high-level combat attributes. As for the death attribute in his body, he could only cultivate it in the future to reach the level 5 domain power. After 2 years of cultivation, Night Sorrow's destruction domain power had reached 90%. He was only 1 point away from the Emperor realm. During these 2 years, Night Sorrow had been sitting at the top of the Clear Sky Pagoda. He had cultivated for more than 60 years. The Clear Sky Pagoda had a time acceleration of 50 times. Night Sorrow sat at the top of the pagoda, and with the help of the artifact spirit, it had reached more than 30 times. Night Sorrow was looking forward to his destruction attribute entering the Emperor realm. After entering the Emperor realm, and having a completed destruction domain, he could then study the level 4 domain power. The fusion of domains was more troublesome. He had to find common points. It wasn't as if he could successfully fuse domains. It was very difficult. However, Night Sorrow had a plan. He wanted to increase his cultivation while fusing domains. The time it took for him to reach the level 3-star Emperor realm might allow him to study domains. The demon wing race's emperors could be seen flying back and forth in the heaven desolate mountain. They were looking for Night Sorrow's traces. Demon Throat was really angry. He had never suffered such a loss. His clone was destroyed, which directly affected his future achievements. Although his body exploded and his soul power was gathered, he still lost a part of it. The human race's elders in the heaven desolate city didn't know about Night Sorrow's situation. In these 2 years, they had tried to divine divination for Night Sorrow twice. But what greeted them was a golden fist. They didn't see anything. Then the image collapsed. That bastard. Tang Zong cursed. Great Sect Elder, 7th Sect Elder, and the various law enforcement sect elders, we are unable to perform any divination right now. This bastard brat's vigilance is too high. As long as we perform a divination, before we can see anything clearly, his fist will come smashing out. Elder Zhaixing said with a bitter smile. Lin Piaomiao was the one who understood Night Sorrow's situation the most in the heaven desolate city. But no matter who asked, Lin Piaomiao would say she didn't know. Everyone was helpless. They all knew that Bai Chu Yuan, Xiao Jun, and Li Zong Yuan were unfair to Night Sorrow. This made Lin Piaomiao angry. Lu Qi didn't ask Lin Piaomiao. He didn't like to make others unhappy. If others asked him to ask, he wouldn't say anything. He didn't want to force people. If Lin Piamiao didn't say anything, he wouldn't ask. Lin Piamiao's main body stayed in Nine Regions City as she watched Yishang research artifact refinement. Yishang had already successfully refined an Imperial Lord-level weapon. His artifact refinement technique had reached a certain level, but it couldn't be improved because his cultivation couldn't support it. In the Heaven Desolate Mountain, Night Sorrow's original body comprehended the realm. His clone took out all his high-level materials to evolve the Space Splitter Spear. The evolved Space Splitter Spear had the Blood Chilin's tailbone as the spear tip. The golden-red spear tip was very domineering. There were sharp saw-teeth on both sides of the tip. The body of the spear was silver, and there were purple dragon patterns on it. It wasn't for the sake of looking good. It was made of time-purple sand to penetrate the spiral formation. Looking at the new spear in his hand, Night Sorrow knew that it couldn't be called the Space Splitter Spear anymore. Although it still had the feeling of being one with the spear, it wasn't the Space Splitter Spear anymore. Blood Chilin Spear. Night Sorrow felt that it was more appropriate to call it the Blood Chilin Spear. Holding the Blood Chilin Spear, he practiced his spear techniques. Night Sorrow was very excited because there was a feeling of being connected by flesh and blood. It was as if they were fated to be connected and relied on each other. After the last strike, the tip of the Blood Chilin Spear shone with a golden light. No. Night Sorrow realized that something was wrong. When he started practicing his spear techniques, there was no golden light at all. With a shake of his wrist, Night Sorrow practiced his spear techniques again, but the golden light was gone. He didn't find the key. Night Sorrow's body shook. After the last strike, he was about to pull back the spear to find the key. However, the golden light appeared again, which made Night Sorrow understand where the problem was. It was because of his body's strength. When he pulled back the spear, he stretched his muscles and bones. It was his body's strength that drove the Blood Chilin Spear. After finding the key, Night Sorrow started to use his body's strength to drive the Blood Chilin Spear. At this moment, the Blood Chilin Spear shone with a golden light. He understood. Night Sorrow understood. The Blood Kirin was an auspicious beast, a virtuous beast. Its power of merit was hidden in its flesh and bones. It used its body's energy to activate its spear skills. The Blood Kirin's tailbone was stimulated by the power of merit, and it emitted a golden light of merit. It was a lethal golden light of merit. Haha. Night Sorrow laughed. It wasn't appropriate to call the spear the Blood Chilin Spear. The virtuous power could destroy all evil power. It was more appropriate to call it the Blood Chilin Evil Slaying Spear. Satisfied. Night Sorrow was very satisfied. The Blood Chilin Evil Slaying Spear was formed. It had a good foundation. Even if he cultivated to the Emperor rank in the future, the Blood Chilin Evil Slaying Spear could continue to evolve. In front of the Nine Region City's Heaven-Sealing Great Hall, Night Sorrow, who was studying the array diagram, laughed. What's going on? Lin Xian'er, who was drinking tea with Datura, looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Look at the W edition, chapter/section J. I refined an Emperor rank spear. It was refined from the Blood Chilin's tailbone that we obtained from the evil slaying land. Aluo, Sister Xian. Or do you know? It's really suitable for me. Night Sorrow said happily. That's good. How are you now? Lin Xian'er asked. Not bad. I left the Heaven Desolate Mountain and cultivated by the Nirvana seaside. Give me some time and I'll be back, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, you caused trouble in the Heaven Desolate Mountain. They can't find you in the Heaven Desolate Mountain, and will expand the search area because they can be sure that you haven't returned, Lin Xian'er said. They won't think that I'm back, will they? Night Sorrow looked at Lin Xian'er in surprise. No, after you left the Heaven Desolate City, the city closed the star array and no longer used the power of the stars to interfere with the Nirvana tide. Therefore, the Nirvana tide is always wrapped around the sea bridge. Not to mention a 1-star Emperor rank, even a 3-star Emperor rank wouldn't be able to return. Unless you have a rank 4 domain, it's impossible that the demon-winged race doesn't know about this, Lin Xian'er said. They tricked me. They're waiting for me to come back, squatting on the sea bridge. How can I return? Night Sorrow was a little angry. The Heaven Desolate City was not giving him a way out. So you have to be careful. The consequences of being careless can be very serious. If you're in danger, you have to inform me immediately. I'll set off from the heaven-desolate city. It won't take long to find you, Lin Xianer said. Chapter 1739. What's wrong? I'm in Tianhuang City, Lin Xianer explained. It's so far away. By the time you arrive, they will have already chopped me into minced meat. I'd better be more careful. Night Sorrow said. That's true. You have to be careful and hide yourself well. You need time. I'll give you time. When your cultivation is high enough, you won't have to be afraid of anyone or hide from anyone. Lin Xianer nodded. After hearing Lin Xianer's words, Night Sorrow understood some things. The Demon Wings race was sure that he was still in Tianhuang City. They would definitely search for him vigorously and kill him. He had slapped the Demon Wings race's face. The Demon Wings race loved to kill and would not let him go. Night Sorrow took out the Saint Spirit Stones and set up an illusionary killing array and a teleportation array in his cultivation area. Then he continued to build strongholds. Night Sorrow did not have much, but he had a lot of Saint Spirit Stones. He had set up 10 strongholds. The periphery of each stronghold was an illusionary killing array, and the interior was a teleportation array. The distance between each stronghold was millions or even tens of millions of miles. The illusionary killing array would not be discovered if it was not touched. Even if it was discovered, it would be difficult to break it. Even if it was broken, it would be impossible to trick Night Sorrow. Once the illusionary killing array was broken, it would explode and the teleportation array would lose its effect. It was impossible to wait. In addition, Night Sorrow's strongholds were not in the shape of a snake. They were arranged according to the array diagram. Every teleportation array was connected to 2 other strongholds. This way, he could prevent others from accidentally destroying a stronghold. When he wanted to escape, the path was cut off. He had to ensure that his escape route was clear. *5 genuine B4 first, U first 0G after returning to the first stronghold. Night Sorrow took a look at the teleportation crystal on the teleportation array disk. After that, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. Half a year after Night Sorrow set up his strongholds, he began his first escape. 2 Imperial Emperors appeared in his cultivation area. He had no choice but to run. A year later, 3 strongholds were wiped out. The third one was the most dangerous because Night Sorrow's will of destruction had advanced to the Emperor realm. While he was enduring the tribulation of wind and fire, an Imperial Emperor came. It was only when Night Sorrow realized that the other party was getting closer did he realize it. Fortunately, he had activated the teleportation formation disk in time, so he was not attacked. Night Sorrow's doppelganger had something to do now that the will of destruction had entered the Emperor realm. The doppelganger began to research the fusion of domains while the main body deepened the mastery of the various domains. However, the Devil-Winged clan's pursuit of him had also intensified. Strongholds were eradicated one by one because the Devil-Wings race knew that Night Sorrow was cultivating at the edge of the Nirvana Ocean. This made Night Sorrow very angry. Night Sorrow entered the Nirvana Ocean and placed the Clear Sky Pagoda at the bottom of the Nirvana Ocean. He sat at the top and started cultivating. Under such circumstances, he consumed Saint Spirit Stones. He could withstand it because he still had more than 2 million Saint Spirit Stones in his storage ring. No matter how much he burned, it would not be a problem. Emoho was very angry because he could not catch Night Sorrow. He was anxious because his weapon had been taken away by Night Sorrow. It was made of golden cracking stone and was incomparably tough. It was also said to be indestructible. Moreover, it was his life weapon. If he could not find Night Sorrow, he would not be able to get it back. The energy in the Nirvana Ocean was even more violent. Night Sorrow stayed at the bottom of the ocean, which was more stable than the surface. However, he could still comprehend the will of heaven and earth. His main body increased his cultivation level, while his doppelganger deduced the fusion of domains in the Clear Sky Pagoda. After discovering that Night Sorrow was at the edge of the Nirvana Ocean, Emoho sent out experts and ordinary Devil Wings race soldiers to eradicate all of Night Sorrow's strongholds. The Nirvana Ocean coast was very long, but it couldn't withstand many people. Emoho was sure that Night Sorrow was near the coast. The Heaven Desolate mountain was cleaned and sealed by the Devil Wings race. It was hard for Night Sorrow to survive. Therefore, Night Sorrow could only survive near the Nirvana Ocean. However, there was no sign of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was cultivating at the bottom of the Nirvana Ocean. The Devil Wings race's search was destined to be fruitless because Night Sorrow had disappeared into thin air. The peaceful days passed by quickly. In the blink of an eye, Night Sorrow had been in the Heaven Desolate region for 7 years. In other words, he had been exiled for 7 years. He had also cultivated at the bottom of the Nirvana Ocean for more than 2 years. Cultivating at the bottom of the Nirvana Ocean, Night Sorrow's spacetime attribute increased at a slower rate. However, his void and destruction attributes were increasing rapidly. Why were the Nirvana Ocean waves and Nirvana Immortal Wind so powerful? Because the void and destruction attributes led the other attributes to form an energy storm. Therefore, Night Sorrow's 2 attributes were increasing rapidly. However, the fusion of the void and destruction domains was too difficult. In the 2 years in the real world, Night Sorrow's 2 clones had been constantly deducing. However, Night Sorrow had spent 100 years. However, in 100 years, Night Sorrow still couldn't complete the fusion of domains. This made Night Sorrow understand why high-grade domains were so hard to obtain. Not to mention 1-star and 2-star emperors. Even 3-star emperors and monarchs had domains of only 1 attribute. Why could a powerful emperor fight against a monarch? It was because some talented emperors had already fused their domains. After cultivating to 2-star emperor, Night Sorrow was confident that he could fight against a monarch. However, there was still room for improvement. Therefore, he didn't make a move. Additionally, he didn't want to take the risk. The things on him were too important. Whether it was the human emperor's seal or Mo Tianji's corpse, he couldn't lose them. The human emperor's seal was a human Dao divine artifact. He couldn't lose it. Mo Tianji's corpse was too important. Without a body, it would take a long time for Mo Tianji to make a comeback. It was difficult to reincarnate or rebuild a body. It was hard to say if she could recover to her peak. However, if her body was snatched back, Mo Tianji would have a foundation to rise again. Night Sorrow couldn't give her this foundation. Mo Tianji's body was very strong. Night Sorrow couldn't destroy it because her body had Dao runes. That was the power brought about by one's cultivation realm. Without being discovered, Night Sorrow continued to increase his cultivation realm. His clones continued to fuse domains and headed toward level 4 domains. Night Sorrow also knew why the fusion of domains wasn't progressing well. It was why the fusion of domains was only at the edges. There was no progress in the fusion of domains at the core. It was because the void and destruction supreme attributes repelled each other. In the past, the void attribute ruled over the spacetime attribute. Now that the destruction attribute had fused, a problem appeared. There was a conflict between the 2 attributes. The destruction attribute repelled the void attribute, but the void attribute didn't allow the destruction attribute to take over. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow's 2 clones hadn't succeeded in fusing domains even after 100 years. Chapter 1740. It was too difficult to command 2 supreme attributes, because they were supreme attributes. What kind of attribute could be used to command them? Night Sorrow was a little annoyed. His doppelganger in the Clear Sky Pagoda took out the blood-chilling evil-slaying spear, and displayed his spear arts to vent his emotions. He had to vent his emotions. Only by doing this could he achieve something. After practicing a set of spear arts, Night Sorrow's body trembled, and he put away his spear. E0 Most see new chapter 10_X upper FQ following Night Sorrow's last spear strike. The Clear Sky Pagoda was filled with golden light. This was the manifestation of the power of virtue. Night Sorrow slapped his own mouth. At this moment he understood. The reason why the fusion had failed and the progress was slow in the past was because Night Sorrow had always been focused on the fusion of nothingness and destruction. He had never thought about anything else. Now he understood. What was the greatest energy in the world? Virtue was the greatest. The power of virtue was the power recognized by the heavenly Tao. It was the power of humanity and the heavenly Tao. He could use the power of virtue to be the commander of all attributes. He could use the power of virtue to command nothingness, destruction, time, and space. If possible, he could fuse them like this in the future. With this new idea, Night Sorrow put it into practical research. Sometimes he was confused because he did not have a direction. Once he determined the direction and started running, he would get closer and closer to the destination. 6 months had passed in the real world. Night Sorrow's doppelganger had accelerated the deduction for more than 20 years. Finally, the fusion of domains was successful, forming a domain with the power of virtue as the core. Night Sorrow did not know what to call this domain, because there had never been such a domain in history. Night Sorrow stopped cultivating and left the top of the clear sky pagoda. He entered the pagoda and took out a jar of wine to celebrate. Although he was still some distance away from becoming a 3-star emperor, his rank 4 domain had already taken shape. It could even be said that it had matured. It could even be said that it was no longer a simple rank 4 domain. If the power of virtue was an attribute, then it would be a rank 5 domain. He could return. A level 4 domain could withstand the tide of nirvana, because he had felt it when he was at the clear sky pagoda. The nirvana waves and the nirvana immortal wind were repelled by the domain. His domain was like a small spatial world. The nirvana immortal wind and the nirvana waves had already invaded his domain. They were no threat to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow drank a jar of wine and calmed himself down. He was too excited. It had been 8 years since he left the celestial realm. He really wanted to go back. It had been 8 years since he last saw the Night Moon Villa and the Star Moon Lake. Although he had an avatar in the 9-domain world, it was an avatar that could not move. Furthermore, it was very different from his original body. Go back. Night Sorrow decided to wait. There were still 1 million Saint Spirit Stones left in his storage ring. Night Sorrow planned to use the 1 million Saint Spirit Stones to cultivate for a while before returning. Night Sorrow had already comprehended 26% of the space-time attributes momentum of heaven and earth, 18% of the void attributes momentum of heaven and earth, and 15% of the destruction attributes momentum of heaven and earth. It would be very difficult for him to make a breakthrough in the near future. Night Sorrow planned to break through the space-time and void attributes to see if there was a possibility of leveling up. If he leveled up, his battle prowess would increase. Night Sorrow was very clear about his own situation. Once he left the Nirvana Ocean, danger would descend. He needed to kill his way back because the devil-winged race would definitely intercept him and do their best to kill him. Without strength, the possibility of returning was very low. The Clear Sky Pagoda needed a large amount of Saint Spirit Stones to withstand the Nirvana waves at the bottom of the ocean. 1 million Saint Spirit Stones could only support him for half a year. Time passed in Yishang's intense cultivation. He was preparing for his return and making a breakthrough for his return. When he still had 100,000 Saint Spirit Stones, Night Sorrow finally made some progress. His void attribute had entered the 2-star Emperor realm. His space-time attribute's progress wasn't very fast. It only improved by 1%. This was the importance of compatibility. Night Sorrow was born with the void attribute and was the most compatible with him. Therefore, his cultivation was the smoothest. The reason why his space-time attribute's cultivation was fast was also because his innate bloodline was of the spatial attribute. There was compatibility, but the destruction attribute was slightly weaker. There wasn't any possibility of leveling up in a short period of time. Night Sorrow didn't plan to continue staying in the Nirvana Ocean. He wanted to return. Night Sorrow was happy and excited. After hibernating for a few years, he was going to return to the days of passion. He loved fighting, even if it was dangerous. He loved that thrilling feeling. It was time for him to return. Night Sorrow prepared for battle. This time he was going to fight with all his strength. No matter who was blocking his way home, he was going to kill them all. Night Sorrow told the 9 Regions Origin Pearl that if he couldn't withstand it, he would choose to self-destruct. The 9 Regions Origin Pearl was going to leave with the Clear Sky Pagoda. He definitely couldn't lose the Clear Sky Pagoda. The Clear Sky Pagoda was a Heavenly Tao Divine artifact. The Heavenly Tao Pagoda also had the Human Emperor's Seal, which was a Human Tao Divine artifact. In addition, the clear sky pagoda was suppressing Mo Tianji's body. These were things that couldn't be lost. After preparing for battle, Night Sorrow's original body and clone merged into one. His body returned from the Nirvana Ocean to the shore. After the fusion of the domains, Night Sorrow's rank 4 domain wouldn't collapse even if he didn't use his light of virtue. It was already set. After leaving the shore for some distance, Night Sorrow released his soul force to the maximum and searched for a route. Night Sorrow flew towards the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. As he flew, he scouted the situation. He couldn't teleport now because his stronghold had been destroyed by Devil Throat's men. The king, the heavenly monarch, and the monarch couldn't discover Night Sorrow at all. Night Sorrow was flying at a high altitude. He was close to the sky and close to the tumbling destruction divine wind region. He was getting closer and closer to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. The Nirvana Ocean Bridge was the land surface of the Nirvana Ocean. It was the only way to get close to the sky desolate city. One couldn't fly over the Nirvana Ocean. The area where the Nirvana Ocean and the sky connected was the Nirvana Storm formed by the Nirvana Ocean's waves and Nirvana Divine Wind. Even emperors couldn't withstand it. Otherwise, the Nirvana Ocean wouldn't be a natural barrier. Only the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, which connected the land and the sky, would reduce the power of the Nirvana tide. Only those above the Emperor realm could withstand it. This was also the reason why Night Sorrow could only fly at a high altitude after leaving the shore. If one was too close to the Nirvana Ocean, flying in the air would be bad luck. Night Sorrow was more than 20 million miles away from the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Night Sorrow's speed was fast, and he was flying at a high altitude where no one could notice him. He dodged batch after batch of patrolling devil-winged race members. He was getting closer and closer to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. When he was 100,000 miles away from the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Night Sorrow was discovered because he met the Devil Wings race's emperors. When Night Sorrow discovered them, the other party also discovered him. 2 Devil Wings race's emperors charged towards Night Sorrow. They were guarding the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Chapter 1741. Night Sorrow raised his speed to the maximum. With the support of his level 4 domain, Night Sorrow's void steps was extremely fast. In a flash, he covered a distance. The 2 Demon Wing Race Emperors approached Night Sorrow and waved their sabers. Afterimage Body. Night Sorrow used a combat technique that he hadn't used in a long time, Afterimage Body. Because the clone in Night Sorrow's body appeared, the number of afterimages created by the clone and the main body was so large that the 2 demon emperors couldn't distinguish which one was the real one. Night Sorrow's real body drew an arc, bypassing the 2 demon emperors, and continued to rush towards the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Night Sorrow wasn't afraid of fighting, but it wasn't suitable for him to do so now. He didn't know how many people were blocking his path. If he wanted to run, the other party would definitely try their best to kill him. It wasn't wise to fight to the death and exhaust himself. Using Afterimage Body, Night Sorrow deceived the 2 defending demon emperors. Then, with the support of his level 4 domain, he continued to fly with void steps. At this moment, they could see the speed of Night Sorrow and the 2 Demon Wing Race Emperors. The Demon Wing Race had a pair of wings on their back. With the help of the wings, they were extremely fast. However, Night Sorrow had the space-time attribute and the void steps, so his speed wasn't any slower than the Demon Wing Race Emperors. With Night Sorrow in front, the 2 Demon Wing Race Emperors couldn't catch up. They just maintained their original distance from Night Sorrow. With Night Sorrow in front, the 2 Demon Emperors chased after him. In the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow stood in front of the Heaven Sealing Palace. His aura was bursting out. He could feel his real body in Tianhuang region, so his battle intent was high. Night Sorrow, what's the situation? Sikong Chiyu and the others came to Night Sorrow's side. Lin Xian'er and Datura were also there. 8 years. I've lived like a savage for 8 years. Now I'm on my way home. No matter how difficult it is, I'll come back. I'll kill whoever stands in my way. In Night Sorrow's eyes, there was something else beneath the fighting spirit. There was longing and even nostalgia, because many things had happened in the past 8 years. Although there is no Nirvana Storm on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, the Nirvana Divine Wind and Nirvana Ocean Waves are still there. There is a nirvana tide that crosses the sky. Therefore you have to test the waters and move forward. If you feel that it is not possible, then retreat, Lin Xianer said. There won't be such an opportunity. The demon-winged race has already dispatched a large number of monarchs to wait for me at the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. Today, I will fight to the death. As long as I don't die, I will definitely be able to go home, Night Sorrow said. What's going on? Lin Xianer was a little anxious. There are some things that you know. I killed Demon Throat's clone, and also killed some of the demon-winged race in the Desolate Mountain. Now they have dispatched a large number of people to search for me and block my way back. Therefore this time it's not just the Nirvana Divine Wind and the Nirvana Tide that is blocking my way. The main problem is the demon-winged race's monarchs, Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Lin Xianer's expression turned solemn. This was because it was too difficult for Night Sorrow to return. Apart from the natural dangers, there was also the demon-winged race's monarchs. What was Night Sorrow's cultivation? He was an emperor. Therefore, Night Sorrow's return was a path of no return. It was a path of no return that could not return home. At the bridgehead of the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, Night Sorrow saw 3 demon-winged race's monarchs. Haha. In order to deal with an emperor like me, the demon-winged race sent 5 monarchs in such a short distance. They really think highly of me. Let's see if he can keep me here today. Kill. Night Sorrow's clone appeared. Both he and his clone unleashed their level 4 domains and charged towards the monarchs that were blocking his way. At this moment, in the desolate mountain city, Lin Piaomiao told Lu Qi about this matter. She was going to pick up someone. She was a little anxious now because Night Sorrow's situation wasn't too good. She also knew about Night Sorrow's determination. In order to return, he was going to fight to the death. Lu Qi also knew the seriousness of the matter, but he couldn't make a decision on his own. It was the city lord's order to not pick up Night Sorrow. Countless years had passed, and the city lord didn't give orders easily. However, when an order was given, it was an ironclad order. This was because the city lord's order couldn't be wrong. He could only look for the Grand Elder first. After hearing Lu Qi's words, the Grand Elder immediately summoned the Council of Elders and 6 or 7 divination masters. Hurry up and do the divination. The Grand Elder roared at the divination masters. As the divination masters did the divination, an image appeared. Night Sorrow didn't destroy the image because he didn't have time. At this moment, he was fighting against 5 monarchs of the Demon Wing clan alone. Night Sorrow's main body and avatar were facing the 6 Imperial Emperors because one of the Imperial Emperors was fighting with his main body and avatar. At this moment, Night Sorrow's actual combat strength could be seen. In the area covered by his level 4 domain, he and his clone were fighting against the 6 monarchs of the Demon Wing clan. They weren't at a disadvantage in terms of speed and weren't at a disadvantage when facing Night Sorrow head-on. This was because Night Sorrow's level 4 domain had the Void attribute and the ability to melt. Not only could the space-time attribute increase his speed, but it could also slow down the opponent's speed. 2-star Emperor level 4 domain, and he's not at a disadvantage when facing 6 monarchs. This is a true hero. The Grand Elder was a little excited. He was so excited that his beard was trembling. Grand Elder, there are 6 monarchs and he's only an emperor. Everyone look, the Nirvana Immortal Wind is still wreaking havoc. If this continues, he won't be able to hold on. Emperor Tang also looked at the Grand Elder. Old bastard, you are a bunch of trash. If you don't dare to fight, I Night Sorrow dare to fight. If you have the ability, then keep hiding. Yi Shan sensed a divination skill looking in their direction, so he cursed. Emperor Tang rubbed his nose and turned his head to the side. Divination masters couldn't hear anything, but they could read the shape of the mouth. There were no rookies here. Naturally, they could tell what Night Sorrow was saying from the shape of his mouth. At this moment, Night Sorrow's long hair was fluttering. His battle robe was full of holes and he was barefoot. His body was overflowing with battle intent. Grand Elder, save him. Lin Piaomiao was a little anxious. Go. This is the City Lord's order. The City Lord's order is not wrong. Grand Elder growled. He was also anxious, but the City Lord's order was ironclad. What should we do? Lin Piao paced back and forth anxiously. However, her eyes were fixed on the battle on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. At this moment, the battle on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge had reached its climax. 6 people and 8 clones were led by Night Sorrow deeper into the Nirvana Ocean Bridge, by more than 200,000 miles. At the beginning, Night Sorrow was worried that more experts from the Demon Wing race would join in. But at this point, Night Sorrow was sure that no other Demon Wing race would join in the battle. This was because they weren't far from the Heaven Desolate City. The Demon Wing Imperial Emperor knew this as well. Whether or not they could stop Yi Sorrow would depend on them. Therefore, the real battle had begun. It was like a white knife going in and a red knife coming out. There were only 5 Demon Wing races monarchs left. The monarch who fought with his clone had his head smashed by Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. However, as a price, Night Sorrow's main body had a bloody wound on his chest. Blood splattered all over his tattered battle robe. Chapter 1742. Is this the result you want? Maybe both sides will suffer. Or maybe both sides will perish together. Lin Piao roared at the Grand Elder and the others. Grand Elder, should we change the situation and bring him back? Qin Qianjia's face was filled with anxiety. The Grand Elder gripped the armrest of his chair, his fingers digging into it. Don't bring him back. Carving out a path of blood and coming back alive is a crucial step in his growth. The human race needs such a young man. He also needs to take this step. A life of iron and blood has to start with iron and blood. Even if he dies, it's his fate. A voice sounded in the meeting hall. Hearing this voice, no one spoke because it was the voice of the Heavenly Desolation City's City Lord. Watch carefully. This is a path you haven't taken, but he will take it today. The voice sounded again, and then there was silence. The battle strength of the Demon Wing clan's monarchs was tyrannical, and many of them were fighting Night Sorrow alone. Night Sorrow was already injured, but as Night Sorrow was injured, another Demon Wing clan's monarch's head was smashed by Night Sorrow's hand. For more. Again. Night Sorrow's doppelganger's right leg was chopped. Although his body was tyrannical and his leg was not chopped off, the energy had broken his leg bone. However, he could still fly and fight. Ah! Lin Piao waved her hand and smashed the table in the meeting hall. The fierce battle continued, but the battlefield was getting closer and closer to the Heavenly Desolation City. The remaining 4 Demon Wing clan's monarchs knew that they would die if they approached the Heavenly Desolation City, but they were not afraid now. They wanted to kill Night Sorrow before they died because they knew that Night Sorrow was the young elite of the human race and the future of the human race. If they didn't kill Night Sorrow, more Demon Wing clan's monarchs would die in his hands. With a loud explosion, another Demon Wing clan's monarch's head was pierced by Night Sorrow's blood-chilling evil punishing spear. Fight. Night Sorrow had already consumed more than half of his energy. The 3 monarchs of the Demon Wing clan were in a much better state than him. After all, their cultivation bases were deeper than Night Sorrow's. Although they were injured, they still had more energy than Night Sorrow. Old bastards. Remember this. If I come back alive, you'd better not provoke me. If you provoke me, I don't even need the Demon Wing clan to kill you. Night Sorrow roared. No one doubted Night Sorrow's words. Night Sorrow's cultivation was low, and the people here could easily crush him like an ant. However, no one could achieve such a soaring battle intent. Night Sorrow knew that if this continued, he would be the first to fall. Virtuous domain. Night Sorrow roared, and virtuous power burst forth and joined the domain. Immediately, Night Sorrow's domain was filled with mighty golden light. With the suppression of the domain, Night Sorrow's blood-chilling evil punishing spear erupted with offensive power. His main body and clone attacked at the same time, unleashing soul-extinguishing slash, spatial rend, and destruction true dragon incantation at the same time. This was an all-out attack. The 2 Demon Wing Imperial Emperors attacked by Night Sorrow failed to dodge due to their exhaustion and the Nirvana Tide's influence. They were killed by Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow was struck repeatedly. His main body had been punched in the back. Although it didn't shatter his body, the energy had penetrated his body and blasted open the right side of his chest. An arrow of blood shot out just like that. At the same time, his left knee had been slashed. Although the bone hadn't been shattered, his flesh and tendons had all been severed. Die! Night Sorrow roared. The Avatar's blood-Kirin evil punishing spear erupted with a golden light and shot out. This spear was overbearing and peerless. Night Sorrow's Avatar's energy had completely erupted. The blood-Qilin evil-slaying spear pierced through the last Imperial Emperor's Dantian and nailed him to the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. At this time, Night Sorrow's domain was also unstable because he had consumed too much energy. Fortunately, these Demon Wing Imperial Emperors were all 4-star Kings. They had all just entered the Imperial Emperor realm, so their combat strength was not ridiculously strong. Night Sorrow knew that if there was a 5-star monarch or a 6-star monarch, he would be dead by now. After consuming the Mystic Stone Elixir and Spiritual Liquid of Origin, Yishang kept the blood-Kirin evil-slaying spear, the horns, storage rings, and weapons of the Demon Wing Imperial Emperors. His doppelganger merged with his true body and flew towards Tianhuang City. He couldn't hold on any longer. His energy couldn't keep up. The Mystic Stone Elixir and Spiritual Liquid of Life couldn't keep up with his consumption. He won. An emperor killed 5 Imperial Emperors. This is an eternal song. Emperor Tang was somewhat excited. This is simply a miracle. He's a 2-star monarch. Gucci was very excited. Activate the star formation and affect the Nirvana tide. Let's go out and welcome him. Grand Elder was also very excited. Night Sorrow flew on the Nirvana Ocean Bridge. He had to quickly reach Tianhuang City. He estimated that he could last for 15 minutes. There was still some distance to Tianhuang City. While Night Sorrow was flying, the star formation of Tianhuang City began to activate. It borrowed the power of the stars in the sky to affect the Nirvana tide. The pressure on Yishang lessened as he flew. 15 minutes later, Yishang saw the heavenly desolate city. Look at the original version, a chapter section. This time, the city gates were opened. All the elders of the human race appeared. Some of the soldiers stationed in the city also appeared on both sides of the gate. There were also some commanders. Night Sorrow landed 3,000 meters away from the desolate city. He could no longer fly due to the influence of the energy of the stars. He was still bleeding after landing. The tendons in his left leg were broken, so he had to drag his left leg forward step by step. It was rather difficult for him to walk. Every step he took would leave a bloody footprint, accompanied by the sound of his feet stepping on sand and stones. A path of blood, a true path of blood. Night Sorrow left Tianhuang City in a white battle robe. His hair was neatly combed into a bun. However, at this moment, half of his face was covered by his long hair. There were many holes in his robe. He didn't have any battle boots. The tattered battle robe only covered the back of his feet. The vicissitudes of life and the bloodstained battle robe gave Night Sorrow a biting cold aura. Night Sorrow approached the city gate step by step. Lin Piaomiao flashed to Night Sorrow's side and reached out to help Night Sorrow. Sister Xian, I'll walk the way home myself. Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao. Then he shook his head and continued to walk towards the city gate. It was very quiet. Only the rustling of Night Sorrow's feet could be heard. I'm here to bring you into Tianhuang City. The Grand Elder looked at Night Sorrow and said, That's not necessary. You said I was a traitor of the human race and exiled me. Whether I was wronged or not, I, Night Sorrow, will be the scapegoat. Have I given you enough of an explanation? Night Sorrow asked. The Grand Elder wanted to say something, but he didn't know how to start. Chapter 1743. Sister Xian, take me to the teleportation array. I want to go home. Night Sorrow ignored everyone and staggered into Tianhuang City. Okay, let's go home. Lin Xian didn't care about the bloodstains on Night Sorrow's body and reached out to support Night Sorrow's shoulder. Wait. Since you've come to the place where Yan Wushuang died, you should talk about the human emperor's seal. Make it clear before you leave. Li Zongyuan blocked Night Sorrow and Lin Xian's path. You want to know about the human emperor's seal? Then you can ask my master, the unparalleled Sword Emperor. However, because you haven't asked about him for many years, there's no one to ask now. If you want the human emperor's seal, it's simple. Go find it yourself. Night Sorrow sneered. How dare you? This is Tianhuang City, the territory of the human race's Council of Elders. It's not a place where a brat like you can boast shamelessly. Li Zongyuan was furious. I know this is Tianhuang City, and I know how domineering you are. You can banish me once, and you can do it a second time. However, you have to give a suitable reason the second time, right? Night Sorrow pushed Lin Piaomiao away and stood up straight. His eyes under his messy hair shone brightly. He was now extremely disgusted by the words human race's Council of Elders. This concerns the entire human race. There is a reason for banishing you, but why not banishing others? Li Zongyuan asked. Is that what you're saying? Killing someone without asking who is right or wrong can also give a reason. Because you deserve to be killed. Why didn't we kill others? I don't want to talk to you now. Either you let me go, or you continue to banish me. Nodding to Lin Xian'er, his clone entered the clear sky pagoda, and used the time to recover his injuries. At the same time, he also recovered his energy. Li Zongyuan, don't you think your words are unreasonable? You clearly know that banishing Night Sorrow last time was wrong, so what's the point of saying these words now? We humans win people over by virtue. What do you mean by what you said just now? Qin Qianjia said discontentedly. Everyone calm down first. Let's not talk about anything else. Night Sorrow has just killed 5 emperors from the Demon Wing clan. That's a merit. If he wants to go back, then go back. We'll talk about other matters later. The Grand Elder pointed the coiling dragon spear at the ground and said. 2 hours later, Night Sorrow stood up and said, Elder Sister Xian, if you have time, please send me back. I don't know the teleportation route back home. Alright, let's go back first. It's good that we came back alive. Lin Piaomiao nodded, tears welling up in her eyes. The current Night Sorrow made her heart ache. It was too tragic. Sister Xian'er, I'm fine. Didn't I come back alive? Night Sorrow nodded at Lin Piaomiao. Everyone stepped aside and watched as Lin Piaomiao left with Night Sorrow. No one stopped her. Lin Piaomiao brought Night Sorrow onto the teleportation array and left. This is the courage of us humans. Seeing such a young man is equivalent to seeing the dawn of humanity. Emperor Tang said as he let out a sigh of relief. Humph. What can a person who doesn't see the big picture do? Li Zongyuan said. What bullsh***. If you see the big picture, you're awesome. Why don't you kill your way out? That's something. Show it to everyone. A man in black said. Great Demon King, what do you mean? Li Zongyuan looked at the man in black. You don't know what I mean? Then I'll be more direct. I don't like you. Is that clear enough? The man in black looked at Lin Fan with disdain. Can you put harmony and stability first in your heart? Li Zongyuan's face was ugly. If you don't have harmony in your heart and a stable view of the big picture, I'll test your combat strength first. Also, half of the people in Tianhuang City won't live well. The Great Demon King in black turned and left. Before he left, his eyes were full of disdain. Li Zongyuan didn't say anything, because he didn't want to be unlucky. He didn't want to provoke a thorn like the Great Demon King. No one knew what a crazy Great Demon King could do, and the Sky Extreme Saint Emperor was an example. Because the Great Demon King didn't like him, he didn't even dare to show his face now. During the teleportation, Night Sorrow's injuries were getting better. He had suffered some serious injuries in this battle, and there was still the energy of the Demon Wing clan's emperor in his body. However, it didn't hurt him at all. In the 9-domain world, Night Sorrow's clone returned to the Heaven Ceiling Palace because the dust had settled. Chuyu, let's go to Ethereal City to welcome Night Sorrow. Lin Xian'er said to Sikong Chuyu and the others. Then the group arrived at Star Moon Lake. Datura called for the upper echelons of the Chaos Domain to go to Ethereal City. When they arrived at Ethereal Empire, Lin Xian'er returned to her Ethereal Battle Empress attire. Lin Piaomiao and the people of the Chaos Domain stood in front of the teleportation array and waited. Then, the elders and 7 palace lords of Ethereal Empire also arrived. They didn't know what was going on. When they arrived, Songming told them that Night Sorrow was coming back. This guy was exiled. He's very powerful to be able to fight his way back. Lin Qixing muttered. He faced the encirclement of 5 Demon Wing Clan's emperors alone, and killed all of them. Someone like you will fall instantly in front of him. Lin Piaomiao said. Lin Piaomiao's words stunned the palace lords of Ethereal Empire. Lin Qixing was a 3-star monarch and was the strongest monarch in Ethereal Empire. Elder Luo, let the elders and palace lords of the City Lord Mansion take a look at this memory crystal ball later. Lin Piaomiao threw a crystal ball to Luo Yuandao. It was the scene of Night Sorrow's battle. Lin Piaomiao recorded the divination scene. She wasn't the only one. Many people had recorded it. Forever and forever free of charge. Look at Too Small, you said after waiting for half a day. Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao appeared in front of the teleportation array. Seeing Night Sorrow, everyone who knew him had tears in their eyes. 13. Aoi threw herself into Night Sorrow's arms. 6th senior sister, I'm back. It's fine. Why is everyone here? I originally wanted to wash up before going back. I'm in such a sorry state now. Night Sorrow patted Aoi's back and said, now you're a real man. Wu Fing went up and patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Then the group arrived at Night Moon Manor. Night Sorrow went to take a shower first. He had to clean up. Yuandao, Songning, prepare for the Misty Dynasty. If Night Sorrow wants to fight, then we'll destroy the Celestial Sect first, Lin Piaomiao said. Okay, we'll help Night Sorrow take down the Celestial Sect. Songning nodded. If we don't help, Night Sorrow will be able to destroy the Celestial Sect. The main problem is territory. He has no one to take over, Lin Piaomiao said. After an hour, Night Sorrow came out after taking a bath. He didn't tie his hair into a bun. Instead, he simply tied it behind his neck with a silk ribbon. He wore a loose robe that reached the floor. However, as he walked, everyone saw that Night Sorrow wasn't wearing combat boots. He walked barefoot on the ground. 13. You don't have combat boots anymore? Yang Lei asked. Chapter 1744. Son of AB *Teach these animals. Yang Lei cursed. Looking at Night Sorrow's current state, she knew how much Night Sorrow had suffered. K/update the most F** hurry up. Night Sorrow. Ling Daoshu from the Celestial Sect informed by Chu Yuan. When do you plan to attack? The troops are ready, Lin Piaomiao said. No hurry, they can't run away. I plan to rest for a few days, Night Sorrow said. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow needed some time alone, so they all left. Night Sorrow talked with his wives for a while. Looking at the early evening lights in Ethereal City, Night Sorrow left the Night Moon Villa and went to the Twilight Tea House. Chun Chun, who had been informed by the servants, went to Night Sorrow and gave him a hug. He patted Night Sorrow's shoulder heavily and did not say anything. Yishang entered the moon-admiring pavilion alone. He wanted to feel the calm moon. After making a pot of tea, Night Sorrow found that everything was still for a moment. Then a middle-aged man appeared in the room. The middle-aged man was wearing a loose robe with a smile on his face. He still had short, lean hair. Tran Hung. Tran Hung, the writer of the Celestial Demon List. Brother Chun, you're here. Please take a seat. Night Sorrow stood up and invited Tran Hung to sit. I know you're back, so I came to see you. After a few years of training, you've become stronger. You're really strong inside. With an invincible heart, you're invincible. Tran Hung sat across from Night Sorrow. Thank you, Brother Tran Hung. I'm lucky that I didn't die. Night Sorrow muttered. The human patriarchs in the Tianhuang city are a mix of good and bad. You were exiled because of some people's selfishness, Tran Hung said after taking a sip of tea. If you know that being banished is wrong, you can at least bring me back, right? Just leave him outside and let him perish on his own? Yishan was angry. That was the order of the mayor of Tianhuang City. Don't think that he was trying to harm you. The mayor of Tianhuang City has a unique skill, the Great Prophecy spell, which can predict a person's fate. He must have thought that you would encounter difficulties but not die, so he made this decision. This is a training for you. You must have learned a lot, right? Tran Hung looked at Night Sorrow and said, Fortunately, there are some gains. Night Sorrow said after being stunned for a moment. There were some things that he didn't know, but he understood that Great Prophecy was definitely a heaven-defying skill. Haha. Some gains? Your body of virtue has made you an unprecedented virtuous emperor. Is the inheritance of the peerless sword emperor not precious? Also, keep the human emperor's seal well. Emperor Chen said to Yishang. Senior knows about this? Knight Sorrow looked at Tran Hung in surprise. I told you not to call me senior, just call me Brother Chen. I know some things. You don't have to worry. The virtuous emperor's seal is yours. No one can take it away from you, because you are the virtuous emperor. That is the power of the virtuous emperor. Tran Hung corrected Knight Sorrow. Okay, Knight Sorrow understands. Knight Sorrow nodded. I came to find you for another matter. Mo Tianji's body is in your hands. What do you plan to do? Tran Hung looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Brother, you are omniscient. I didn't have to rush back and continued to find a place to cultivate. In Mount Tianhuang, I could just throw my spatial treasure into the ground and continue to hide. I risked my life to come back, but I was worried that Mo Tianji's body would be sensed by Mo Tianji and be taken back. Knight Sorrow said. I understand. I'm just worried about how you will deal with this body. Tran Hung nodded at Knight Sorrow. Brother, do you have any good ideas? Knight Sorrow looked at Tran Hung and asked. Yes, I can help you destroy it. Or you can find a place where they can't find it or take it back. Hiding it will bring you more benefits. We know in our hearts that we won't give it to them no matter what, but they don't know that. That's why their hands are tied. With this in hand, you will have the confidence to cheat others as you wish, Chen Huang said. Is that okay? Knight Sorrow smiled. It's not the first time you've tricked people. If you want to negotiate, you can ask them to give you a greeting gift. Of course, you won't be satisfied with any greeting gift, right? Then let's not talk. Tran Hung said what Knight Sorrow didn't dare to think. That's indeed possible. Before Big Brother came, I planned to send Mo Tianji's body to the 9 regions world to be suppressed, mainly because I was worried that there might be some kind of trump card hidden in this body. If she suddenly came back to life, my world would be turned upside down. Yishang expressed his concerns because of Guizu's precedent. Take it out. Brother will help you seal it. Tran Hung nodded at Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow brought Mo Tianji's body out of the 8-dragon cauldron. Mo Tianji looked like she was asleep. Her long white hair covered the ground. Tran Hung clasped his hands together, and his fingers vibrated. A void array was formed. As he pressed his hands down, the void array merged into Mo Tianji's body. It's done. Her body doesn't have a soul. Brother has placed a seal on it. Other souls can't get close to her and won't occupy her body. In fact, she's afraid of death now. It won't take long for her to negotiate. Tran Hung said after placing a seal on her body. She's afraid. Knight Sorrow asked after putting Mo Tianji's body into the 8-dragon cauldron. Of course she's afraid. She's more afraid than being destroyed. There are some things you don't understand. Also, don't hate the human race's sect elders. Good and bad things happen everywhere. You're a human. You can't change your outlook on life because of some people's wrongdoings, Tran Hung said. Brother, don't worry. I'm a human. I'll naturally do my best for the human race. Knight Sorrow nodded. Tran Hung smiled at Knight Sorrow and left. Everything in the Twilight Tea House returned to normal. After drinking a cup of tea, Knight Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa and found Lin Xian. Knight Sorrow told Lin Xian, that Tran Hung had come to see him. Tran Hung is the creator of the demon and god list. His abilities are monstrous. It's not surprising that he knows some things, Lin Xian said. Tran Hung said that Mo Tianji is afraid? I can't destroy this body. Why does he say that she's more afraid than being destroyed? Knight Sorrow asked, puzzled. Her body has Dao aura. It's difficult for swords and sabers to hurt her. However, it's not difficult for an emperor to destroy it. What's more frightening than being destroyed is that she's afraid of being desecrated. She's a woman. If you're a villain and find a male beast to desecrate her, her Dao heart will be destroyed and she'll completely sink into depravity. Do you think she's not afraid? This might be the reason why the demon-winged clan sent so many people to stop you from coming back. Lin Xian said. Damn. That's a little despicable. I won't do that, Knight Sorrow said after being stunned for a moment. You won't do it, but she's afraid. This is a war between races. They'll do anything, Lin Xianer said. It seems that I'm still the center of this conflict. My cultivation isn't enough. Night Sorrow could imagine what he would face in the future. Chapter 1745. Son of AB** teach these animals. Young Lakehurst. Looking at Night Sorrow's current state, she knew how much Night Sorrow had suffered. Night Sorrow, Ling Daoshu of the Celestial Sect informed by Chu Yuan. When do you plan to attack? Everyone is ready, Lin Pianmiao said. No hurry, they can't run away. I plan to rest for a few days, Night Sorrow said. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow needed some time alone, so they all left. Night Sorrow talked with his wives for a while. Looking at the early evening lights in Ethereal City, Night Sorrow left the Night Moon Villa and went to the Twilight Tea House. Chun Chun, who had received the report from his servant, went to Night Sorrow and gave him a hug. He patted Night Sorrow's shoulder heavily and did not say anything. Yi Shang entered the moon-admiring pavilion alone. He wanted to feel the calm moon. After making a pot of tea, Night Sorrow found that everything was still for a moment. Then a middle-aged man appeared in the room. The middle-aged man was wearing a loose robe and had a smile on his face. He still had short hair. Tran Hung. Tran Hung, the author of the Celestial Demon List. Brother Chun, you're here. Please take a seat. Night Sorrow stood up and invited Tran Hung to sit down. I know you're back, so I came to see you. After a few years of training, you've become stronger. A strong heart is really strong. With an invincible heart, you can be invincible in the world. Tran Hung sat opposite Night Sorrow. Thank you, Brother Tran Hung. I'm lucky that I didn't die. Night Sorrow muttered. The human patriarchs in the Tianhuang city are a mix of good and bad. You were exiled because of some people's selfishness, Tran Hung said after taking a sip of tea. If you know that being banished is wrong, you can at least bring me back, right? Just leave him outside and let him perish on his own? Yishang was angry. That was the order of the mayor of Tianhuang City. Don't think that he was trying to harm you. The mayor of Tianhuang City has a unique skill, the Great Prophecy spell, which can predict a person's fate. He must have thought that you would encounter difficulties but not die, so he made this decision. This is a training for you. You must have learned a lot, right? Tran Hung looked at Night Sorrow and said, Fortunately, there are some gains. Night Sorrow said after being stunned for a moment. There were some things that he didn't know, but he understood that Great Prophecy was definitely a heaven-defying skill. Ah, some gains? Your body of virtue has made you an unprecedented virtuous emperor. Is the inheritance of the peerless sword emperor not precious? Also, keep the human emperor's seal well, Emperor Chen said to Yi Shang. Senior knows about this? Night Sorrow looked at Tran Hung in surprise. I told you not to call me senior, just call me Brother Chen. I know some things. You don't have to worry about it. Once the virtuous emperor is in your hands, it is yours. No one can take it away from you because you are the virtuous emperor. That is the power of the virtuous emperor. Tran Hung corrected Night Sorrow. Okay, Night Sorrow understands. Night Sorrow nodded. Tran Hung looked at Night Sorrow and asked, I came to find you for another matter. Mo Tianji's body is in your hands. This must be handled properly. What do you plan to do? Night Sorrow said. Brother, you are omniscient. I didn't have to rush back and continued to find a place to cultivate. In Mount Tianhuang, I could just throw my spatial treasure into the ground and continue to hide. I risked my life to come back, but I was worried that Mo Tianji's body would be sensed by Mo Tianji and snatched back. I understand. I just don't trust you to handle this body. Tran Hung nodded at Night Sorrow. Then do you have any good ideas? Night Sorrow looked at Tran Hung and asked. Yes, I can help you destroy it. Or, you can find a place where they can't find or snatch it back. There are more benefits in hiding. We know in our hearts that we won't give it to them no matter what, but they don't know, so they will be restrained. With this in hand, you will have the confidence to trick people as you wish. Tran Hung said. That works? Night Sorrow smiled. It's not the first time you've tricked people. If you want to negotiate, you can ask them to give you a greeting gift. Of course you won't be satisfied with any greeting gift, right? Then let's not talk. Tran Hung said what Night Sorrow didn't dare to think. That's true. Before you came, I planned to send Mo Tianji's body to the 9 regions world to be suppressed. I was mainly worried that there might be some kind of backup plan in this body. I don't want her to suddenly come back to life and turn my world upside down. Night Sorrow expressed his concerns because of Guizu's precedent. Take it out. Brother will help you seal it. Tran Hung nodded at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow brought Mo Tianji's body out of the 8-dragon cauldron. Mo Tianji looked like she was asleep. Her long white hair covered the ground. Tran Hung put his hands together and his fingers shook. A void array was formed. As he pressed his hands down, the void array merged into Mo Tianji's body. It's done. She doesn't have a soul in her body. Brother has placed a seal so other souls can't get close to her and won't occupy her body. In fact, she's afraid of death now. It won't be long before she comes to negotiate. Tran Hung said after placing a seal on her body. She's afraid? Night Sorrow asked after putting Mo Tianji's body into the 8-dragon cauldron. Of course she's afraid. She's more afraid than being destroyed. There are some things you don't understand. Also, don't hate the human race's sect elders. Good and bad things happen everywhere. You're a human. You can't change your outlook on life because of some people's wrongdoings. Tran Hung said. Brother, don't worry. I'm a human. I'll naturally work for the human race. Night Sorrow nodded. Tran Hung smiled at Night Sorrow and left. Everything in the Twilight Tea House returned to normal. After drinking a cup of tea, Night Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa and found Lin Xian. Night Sorrow told Lin Xian, that Tran Hung came to see him. Tran Hung is the author of the Celestial Demon List. His abilities are monstrous. It's not surprising that he knows some things. Lin Xianer said. Tran Hung said that Mo Tianji is afraid? I can't destroy this body. Why does he say that she's more afraid than being destroyed? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. Her body has Taoist rhymes. It's difficult to be injured by swords and blades. However, it's not difficult for an emperor to destroy it. What's more terrifying than being destroyed is that she's afraid of being desecrated. She's a woman. If you're a despicable person and find a male beast to desecrate her, her Taoist heart will be destroyed. She'll completely sink into depravity in the future. Don't you think she's afraid? This might be the reason why the Demon Wing clan sent so many people to stop you from coming back. Lin Xianer said. Damn. That's a little despicable. I won't do that. Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment before saying. You won't do it, but she's afraid. This is a war between races. They'll do anything. Lin Xianer said. It seems that I'm still the center of this conflict. My cultivation isn't enough. Night Sorrow could imagine what he would face in the future. Chapter 1746. The City Lord's order from the Great Elder was a signal, a trend. Because 7th Elder Lu Qi intended to give up his position as Elder of the Law Enforcement Clan, someone had to replace him. Originally, the replacement was to be chosen from the human clan elders, but Lu Qi had been supporting Lin Piaomiao recently. Everyone knew that it was just Lu Qi's personal opinion. Now that the City Lord had given the order, it meant that he approved of Lu Qi's arrangement and Lin Piaomiao's ability. In addition, the fact that the Great Demon King was following the Great Elder meant that the Great Demon King and the City Lord both intended for the Great Demon King to become the future Great Elder of the Great Demon King. Of course, this would take time, and it was something that had been arranged in advance. Grand Elder, what did the City Lord say about Night Sorrow? Emperor Tang asked. He makes his own decisions. He can do whatever he wants. It's the same in Tianhuang City, the Grand Elder said. He's hostile to us now. Are we not going to do anything when he comes to Tianhuang City and sets it on fire? Li Zongyuan was angry. If he sets it on fire, someone will put it out. We won't watch it burn. Without waiting for the Great Elder to speak, Lu Qi expressed his opinion. The City Lord's arrangement was very much to his liking. He knew Yishang's character very well. Although he was somewhat unruly, he did things with principles. Then I'll have to trouble you, Elder 7. Go to the Misty Dynasty and tell Elder Lin about this. You can also meet that bastard. The other party wants to negotiate. Let's see how he responds. The Great Elder said to Lu Qi. Grand Elder, don't worry. Lu Qi will do it well. Lu Qi nodded. Pu Luo, don't leave Tianhuang City for the time being. There are a lot of things to do. The Grand Elder looked at a young man in a plain white robe. The young man was called Pu Luo. He was a genius, a 1,000-year-old heavenly lord, and an emperor at 3,000 years old. He was now a law enforcement clan elder, but he usually didn't care about Tianhuang City's affairs. Pu Luo was very bright. He had a harmless smile on his face, but no one dared to look down on him. He had no weapons, only a pair of iron fists. Last time, when the Black Dragons attacked, Lu Qi blocked the Black Dragon King. The Black Dragon's elder was stopped by his pair of iron fists. After that, the meeting was adjourned. The crucial issue was settled with the 2 orders from the city lord that the Grand Elder conveyed. The Grand Elder and Lu Qi left, but some of the elders were still sitting and chatting. Emperor Tang is still fine with Commander Lin. As long as you don't provoke her, she's still a very peaceful person. However, that great demon king has become a sect elder of the human race, and is following the Grand Elder. He's going to be a nightmare for many people, Qin Qianjie said. That's a good thing. Some people need to be cautious when doing things. At the very least, they shouldn't cause trouble for others, Emperor Tang said with a smile. The main problem is that little bastard. Now that there's no restriction, he won't set things on fire, but he won't stop. Qin Qianjie was talking about Night Sorrow. Little Bastard was Night Sorrow's codename in Tianhuang City. No one said anything because Night Sorrow was scolding the old bastards. He was scolding the elders of the human race. No one could escape from his scolding. Qin Qianjie's words were a sore point for everyone. The human race elders present were all highly respected in their respective fields. None of them dared to call Qin Qianjie an old bastard. However, Yishang had called him an old bastard more than once. Night Sorrow returned to the 9-domain world, and placed Mo Tianji's body at the bottom of the sky-ceiling Great Hall. He let the 9-domain origin use the world origin chi to suppress it. INC positive N version 1 and premiere after that. Night Sorrow returned to the Night Moon Villa. His wife and parents were at the Night Moon Villa. There was no point for him to stay in the 9-domain world. Sikong Chuyu and the others held a family banquet to celebrate Night Sorrow's return. After the banquet, Night Sorrow entered the Clear Sky Pagoda to recover from his injuries. The Demon Wing Emperor had injured him, and injected his chi into his body. He wanted to refine it. In the Clear Sky Pagoda, Night Sorrow began to recover. While Night Sorrow was recovering, Lu Qi went to the Misty Dynasty. He met Lin Piaomiao in the City Lord's mansion, and told her about the decision of the City Lord. 5 days later, Elder 7 took a day to come. Night Sorrow is in seclusion to recover. I will call him out in 3 days. He can come to the desolate city in time. Lin Piaomiao thought for a moment and said, It took a day to get from the Misty Dynasty to the desolate city. All right. Piaomiao, you should persuade him. If people scold him, so be it. Some elders have lived for so long, and have spent their lives fighting for the human race. They don't deserve to be scolded. Lu Qi said to Lin Piaomiao. He knew that the relationship between Lin Piaomiao and Night Sorrow was not ordinary. Lin Piaomiao nodded. She naturally understood. Many elders of the human race had sacrificed a lot for the stability of the human race. They had even hovered between life and death many times. Lin Piaomiao arranged for Lu Qi to stay in a VIP building in the Misty Dynasty Imperial City to wait for Night Sorrow to come out. With the time acceleration, it took 3 days in the real world but 5 months in the time acceleration. Night Sorrow used the power of merit to remove the foreign energy in his body. While Night Sorrow was studying the horn of the Demon Wing clan, Lin Piaomiao went to the 9 Regions World's Heaven Sealing Hall to see Night Sorrow's clone. She told him about Lu Qi's visit and his purpose. Sister Xianair, when you are outside the Clear Sky Pagoda, I will know when you shake it. I didn't expect the Demon Wing clan to be so restless. Let's first ask for a greeting gift and show some sincerity. Night Sorrow smiled. He didn't expect Tran Hung to be so accurate. The Demon Wing clan really came to negotiate. After informing Night Sorrow, Lin Piaomiao returned to the Night Moon Villa. When she returned, Night Sorrow had already come out of seclusion and had almost recovered. Yishang's avatar came out of seclusion. His original body continued to cultivate while his avatar brought some battle resources, the 9 regions' origin beads, and the human emperor's seal that were originally in his original body's spirit sea. He went to the VIP tower of the Ethereal Empire. Night Sorrow greets Elder. Night Sorrow saluted Lu Qi. Haha. I was worried that after you came, you would call me an old bastard. Then I would be embarrassed, Lu Qi said with a smile. How can that be? That is, when you are angry and have no motivation to complain to encourage yourself. Night Sorrow didn't know how to respond to Lu Qi's words. You were wrongly accused and exiled. As the elder in charge of discipline, I have an unshirkable responsibility. How about I treat you to a drink some other day? Lu Qi said. Elder, please don't say that. You make Night Sorrow blush with shame. Night Sorrow was indeed a little embarrassed because Lu Qi was very generous and had the demeanor of an elder. I believe Piaomiao has already told you my intentions. In the future, you can make decisions for your own matters. However, you are still young. If you don't trust others, you should discuss it with Piaomiao. Lu Qi looked at Lin Piaomiao. He knew that Night Sorrow believed Lin Piaomiao's words. I understand. Night Sorrow also looked at Lin Piaomiao. What a sensible little guy. If anyone in Tianhuang City calls you a little bastard in the future, I will be angry with them. Lu Qi was indeed very happy. He had been worried that Night Sorrow wouldn't be easy to communicate with. After chatting for a while, the 3 of them set off for Tianhuang City. Lu Qi told Night Sorrow about the city lord's orders. Isn't the city lord afraid that I will burn down by Zongyuan's residence? Night Sorrow asked. If you want to burn it, then so be it. The Elder Council is already prepared to put out the fire. Lu Qi didn't refute Night Sorrow's words. This made Night Sorrow a little surprised. After expanding Tianhuang City, Lu Qi found a courtyard for Night Sorrow to live in. Tomorrow, Mo Lu from the Demon Wing clan will be here. Don't worry, just do what needs to be done. Lu Qi reminded Night Sorrow before leaving. Sister Xianer, come find me tomorrow and negotiate with me. I am not their opponent. Night Sorrow said to Lin Piaomiao, who was also about to leave. Chapter 1747. Hearing Yishang's words, Lu Qi, who had taken a few steps, stopped and turned to look at Yishang. You're also afraid of being beaten up? Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be afraid? Those who come to negotiate are all experts. If I don't agree with them, they'll beat me to death. Night Sorrow glanced at Lu Qi and said, Don't worry, I'll be with you tomorrow. Don't worry and speak boldly. If they dare to beat you, well, I'll beat them to death first. Lu Qi nodded to Night Sorrow and left. Lin Piaomiao looked at Night Sorrow and smiled. At this moment, Night Sorrow was the happy Night Sorrow. Looking around the small courtyard, Night Sorrow felt that it was not bad. It was much better than the dungeon. It was very simple. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow strolled around the heavenly desolate city. When the city's patrol saw Night Sorrow, they would make way for him, and even take a detour. As for Night Sorrow's arrangement, the Grand Elder had officially informed the heavenly desolate city. Therefore, all the members of the heavenly desolate city knew about it. In addition, in the hearts of the members of the heavenly desolate city, Night Sorrow was a mad dog. He was the first person to call the human clan's patriarch old bastards. If they provoked Night Sorrow and were bitten by Night Sorrow, they would have no way to redress their grievances. While Night Sorrow was puzzled, Lu Qi and Lin Piaomiao arrived. They were followed by Pu Luo, who was very sunny. Night Sorrow, this is Patriarch Pu Luo. Lin Piaomiao introduced Pu Luo to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow looked at Pu Luo. Don't look at me like that. It scares me. You were exiled. When something happened to you, I was sleeping at home. I'm not the old bastard you're talking about. Pu Luo explained when he saw Yishang's expression. Master Pu Luo, you're thinking too much. Night Sorrow was rude before. Night Sorrow held Pu Luo and cupped his hands. Don't call me master. I don't dare to act like a big shot in front of the Merit Emperor. Just call me Pu Luo. Puluo said with a smile. Patriarch Puluo. He's usually not in the heavenly desolate city. He only comes when there's a battle. This time, he's accompanying you to negotiate. Lu Qi said. Many thanks to the two elders. The other party didn't come, right? Yi Shang understood that Puluo and Lu Qi had come to cheer him on. What? Let's go. Lu. They arrived at the gate of the heavenly wasteland city. Why are you picking him up? You're too polite to him. Night Sorrow didn't plan to do that. Night Sorrow, I'm the Grand Elder of the Devil Wing Clan, Mo Lu. I have something to discuss with you. Will you let me into the city first? Mo Lu shouted at Night Sorrow, who was standing on top of the city gate. If you want to talk, sure. You have to bring a gift when you visit. If you don't meet me, it means that you're not sincere. If you're not sincere, I won't talk with you. Also, I'm busy. I need to refine pills and refine tools to earn some cultivation resources. My life isn't good. Night Sorrow shouted at Mo Lu. Mo Lu was stunned. Lu Qi and Puluo were also surprised. They hadn't even talked yet, but Yi Shiwen was already asking for resources. So you didn't bring a gift. Let's talk next time. Sect Elder Qi, Sect Elder Puluo, Night Sorrow thanks you two for your care. Let's go back. Night Sorrow will treat you two to tea. Seeing that Mo Lu didn't say anything, Night Sorrow changed the topic. He wanted to put some pressure on Mo Lu. Then tell me, what kind of gift do you want? Mo Lu was furious, but for Mo Tianji's body, he had to accept it. The gift is sincerity. It's not good to say it out loud. You have to see what kind of sincerity you can bring. Night Sorrow flew down the city gate tower after saying that. After Night Sorrow left, Lu Qi and Puluo looked at each other and followed Lin Piaomiao down the city gate tower. They went to Night Sorrow's side. Night Sorrow, are we just going to leave him there? Puluo looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Ignore him. If he doesn't show some sincerity, what am I going to talk to him about? Night Sorrow said. Lu Qi and Puluo didn't say anything. Night Sorrow was a scammer. If the Demon Wing clan wanted to talk, they had to spend resources to buy the right to talk. Mo Lu looked at the empty city gate tower, flicked his sleeves and left. If Night Sorrow didn't want to talk, there was nothing he could do. The four of them were going to Night Sorrow's yard for tea, but someone came to find Lu Qi, so Lu Qi left first. When they were not far from the yard, Night Sorrow, Puluo, and Lin Piaomiao met Li Zongyuan and two men in green. Li Zongyuan stood in front of Night Sorrow and looked at Night Sorrow. Have you seen the big elder of the Demon Wing clan? Have you eaten too much? You stopped me last time, and now you're stopping me again? Night Sorrow frowned. He didn't like Li Zongyuan, but he didn't get angry because Tran Heng and Lu Qi had told him that most of the human clan's elders had contributed to the human clan, and were worthy of respect. I'm worried that you're a traitor, Li Zongyuan said. Elderly, please remember the city lord's arrangement. Lin Piaomiao's face turned ugly, and her pretty face was frosty. I'm worried that he will exchange the human emperor's seal, and the city lord will be deceived by him. But I can't just ignore it, Li Zongyuan said. You? Who do you think you are? Night Sorrow couldn't hold back his anger because Li Zongyuan was too infuriating. Who are you? How dare you speak so rudely? I'm giving you face, one of the men in green said. This man was called Feng, and he was Li Zongyuan's disciple. Do I need you to give me face? Go away. Night Sorrow glared at Feng. He couldn't stand people who were eager to flatter him. You don't respect the elder. You don't want face. Naturally, others won't give you face, Feng said sternly. I don't like to talk to you, and you're still so enthusiastic. Go away. This has nothing to do with you. Night Sorrow's anger rose. Go away. This has nothing to do with you, Puluo said. He couldn't stand it anymore because this guy was a dog threatening to bully others. Elder, he's too rude and uneducated. Feng bowed to Puluo. Who's uneducated? Who are you to speak here? Lin Piaomiao was angry. Night Sorrow was someone she valued, but Feng called him uneducated. How could she accept it? While Lin Piaomiao was talking, Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward and stood in front of Feng. You said I'm uneducated? Yes. Feng straightened his body and glared at Night Sorrow. I'm too lazy to scold you. For people like you, I have to knock out all your teeth. As Night Sorrow spoke, his domain suddenly erupted and pressed out. Then, he grabbed the golden human emperor's seal in his hand. At this moment, other than the part that Night Sorrow grabbed, the human emperor's seal was like a big brick. Night Sorrow took a step back and dodged Li Zongyuan. Then, he swung his right hand, and the golden human emperor's seal hit the back of Feng's head like a brick. He fainted. Feng's head was filled with stars and his body fell forward. At this moment, Night Sorrow threw the human emperor's seal to his left hand. After his left hand caught it, he wrapped it around Feng's face, especially his mouth. Chapter 1748. Blood splattered all over the place. Night Sorrow had flattened Maple's face and knocked out all his teeth. And $3 original H starter. Maple was still in a daze as he fell to the ground. His head was filled with stars. Night Sorrow raised the human emperor's seal and kicked him. You want to talk to me about manners? I'll teach you a lesson first. Cheap mouth. I'll pull out all your teeth. Dog. After a while, Maple's body went limp. Many of his bones were broken by Night Sorrow's kicks. However, Pu Luo held on to Night Sorrow. If he continued to beat him, Maple's bones would all be broken. CKU. You think you don't have a temper just because you're the Merit Emperor? Night Sorrow bent down and hit Maple's face with the brick again. Then, he kept the human emperor's seal, and clapped his hands. Elderly, what did you say just now? I didn't hear it clearly. Let's talk again. Li Zongyuan's face turned green as he looked at Maple, who was no longer human. He pointed at Night Sorrow and was speechless. Fight. Lin Piaomiao stood between him and Night Sorrow. Pu Luo also rolled up his sleeves. Li Zongyuan was sure that he wouldn't be able to gain anything by fighting. Yu Shui, take your senior brother away. Li Zongyuan said angrily to the other man in green. Remember this. I'm not done with you. Yu Shui looked at Night Sorrow with murderous intent. What a domineering name. Rain shoes, water shoes would be better. You want to bite me? If you dare to say another word, you'll end up like that dog. I can play with you slowly. Night Sorrow stared at Rain Shoes. The human emperor's seal was in his hand again. Let's go. Li Zongyuan didn't want to stay any longer. His old face was on the ground. Seeing Li Zongyuan leave with his men, Night Sorrow kept the human emperor's seal, and looked at Lin Piaomiao. Sister Xianer, was I too rude just now? No, it's good. That bastard needs to be taught a lesson. Lin Piaomiao smiled. That's right. I also think it's very good. Just do what you need to do. Blindly enduring will only give others something to brag about. Your 2 moves just now were simply too satisfying. I've decided that when I go back, I'll refine a brick just like yours. In the future, I'll use it to slap faces. Pu Luo was very interested in the brick in Yi Shang's hand. Haha. Elder Pu Luo is also a kindred spirit. Yi Shang said with a smile. Slap. Pu Luo shook his head, searching for the feeling when Yi Shang hit his face with the brick just now. Elder Pu Li, you're being led astray by Yi Shan. Lin Piaomiao said with a smile. I'm not being a bad influence. In fact, I'm that kind of person too. Some people can't be spoiled. Night Sorrow, that's Yu Shui you said. He wanted to kill you. Pu Luo said. I found out where he lives. I'll go find him tonight. After cultivating the body of merit, I'll be able to sense who has ill intentions towards me. I'll teach him a lesson. Night Sorrow said. I'm not going to drink tea with you. I'll go back and make a divine weapon. I'll go with you tonight. If that Li Zongyuan is shameless, I'll slap him in the face. Pu Luo waved his hand at Night Sorrow, and left hurriedly to make his favorite divine weapon, the brick. Sister Xianer, what's up with Elder Pu Luo? Night Sorrow was puzzled. He's a genius of his generation. 600 years of heavenly monarch and 3,000 years of emperor. He's carefree. Do you know why he's not in Tianhuang City? He said that he doesn't want to see those old faces. He also doesn't want to put on airs as a law enforcement elder. Lin Piaomiao said. This person is interesting. Tianhuang City is fine. If there's someone shameless, I'll slap him in the face. Tonight, I'll slap that rain shoe. Night Sorrow said. I'll keep a lookout. If Elder Puluo goes, Li Zongyuan will deal with him. If he doesn't, Sister Xian'er will do it for you. Lin Piaomiao said with a smile. Then it's settled. Night Sorrow nodded. Okay, let's go together. Lin Piaomiao was very happy. She was most worried that this unfair incident would affect Night Sorrow's state of mind and character. Now, it seemed that there was no problem with Night Sorrow. Lin Piaomiao, what are you doing? A man in black with a golden crown entered Night Sorrow's courtyard. Great Demon King, why are you here? Lin Piaomiao looked at the man in black and asked. I'm here to play. I heard that Night Sorrow smashed someone's face. So, I came to take a look. The man in black found a seat and sat down. He was the famous Great Demon King, Discipline of the Celestial Realm. Sister Xian'er, is it so rare to smash someone's face? Night Sorrow looked at Lin Piaomiao and asked. It is rare. No one has done it before and no one dares to do it. Lin Piaomiao nodded. What do you mean no one dares to do it? I just didn't think that it could be done. I can try it in the future. If you're shameless, I won't give you any face. Great Demon King looked at Lin Piaomiao and said. Tianhuang City is too oppressive. There's no excitement. If we need excitement, let's start with smashing faces. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and poured it for Great Demon King and Lin Piaomiao. Great Demon King, Night Sorrow has just arrived in Tianhuang City. Some of the elders are against him. So, when he needs help, you can't just watch. You have to help him. Lin Piaomiao looked at Discipline of Discipline and said. That's easy. Night Sorrow, I've seen your battle in the crystal ball. It's very moving. If you want to bully Emperor and Emperor, I'll go with you. If it's Emperor, then forget it. I can't afford to lose that face. Great Demon King looked at Night Sorrow and said. That'll do. Lin Piaomiao nodded. That's nothing. What's with that group of people now? You can't do it and you can't bear to see others do it. All you do is blabber. It's annoying. Discipline of Demon King took the wine bowl and drank it. After drinking a jar of wine, Great Demon King didn't leave. Great Demon King, what's up with you? Don't you have anything to do? Lin Piaomiao asked. I knew you were going to chase them away. I heard it when I came. You guys are planning to do something bad. I'm more interested in that. Discipline of Demon King said. Lin Piaomiao didn't say anything. Obviously, she couldn't chase Discipline of Demon King away now. At this time, Puluo came to Night Sorrow's courtyard with a golden brick in his hand. Night Sorrow, I have to say this thing feels pretty good. After speaking, Puluo grabbed the brick with his right hand and slapped it on the back of his head. Then he slapped his face from bottom to top. Elder Puluo, what's that? Discipline of Demon King looked at the golden brick in Puluo's hand and asked. It's a face-slapping artifact. What does it have to do with you? Puluo grabbed the golden brick with his right hand and put it into his storage ring. The three of you are definitely up to no good. How can I not punish you? Puluo, we've fought side by side. Can you help me get one? As a reward, we'll go slap whoever's face you want us to slap. The one who retreats is not a man. Discipline of Demon King said. Night Sorrow, why don't we bring him along? Puluo looked at Night Sorrow and asked. He didn't have much contact with Discipline of Demon King, but they had fought together against the Demon Wing clan. They were still friends. Chapter 1749. So bold. Take it with you. But let's make this clear first. If things get out of hand, you'll have to clean up your own mess, said Night Sorrow. What's the big deal? You're the virtuous emperor. You won't do anything immoral, said the Great Demon King. Why can't I do anything immoral? It depends on who you're doing it to. Night Sorrow corrected the Great Demon King. Puluo, you're the Emperor Blacksmith. Hurry up. I want the one you just took. The Great Demon King began to urge Puluo. Puluo smiled. He waved his right hand and threw out a spatial treasure. Then he disappeared. He entered the spatial treasure and accelerated the refinement process. In just a moment, Puluo came out with a big golden brick in his hand. So fast. Elder Puluo, are you kidding me? The Great Demon King was suspicious. This thing only needs hardness. It doesn't need anything else. It just needs to be harder than a person's head. Puluo threw the brick to the disciplined Great Demon King. They drank a pot of tea. When night fell, Night Sorrow set off. Puluo, the Great Demon King, and Lin Piaomiao followed behind Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow touched Rainshu's courtyard. Then he released his domain. He wasn't here to fight. He was here to suppress Rainshu. Therefore, he didn't want to give him a chance to struggle or fight. Rainshu was a 5-star sovereign emperor, but he wasn't afraid. He wanted to give it a try. The virtuous emperor's level 4 domain enveloped Rainshu's courtyard. Rainshu wasn't prepared at all. This was Tianhuang City. There would be an enemy invasion, and there would be a battle alarm. Moreover, he was taking care of Maple. Therefore, Night Sorrow's domain suppressed him. Yishan released his domain and sent out his soul extinguishing _X genuine LQ song. Hair 1 Rainshu's first reaction was to defend when he saw Night Sorrow and the 2 purple crescent blades slashing towards him. Night Sorrow's shadow body was activated as Rainshu's unleashed his soul power. Qinyang then used the void step and appeared behind Rainshu's. The golden human emperor's seal was aimed at the back of Rainshu's head. F***CK. Rainshu's wanted to curse, but he only managed to utter 2 words before his head was filled with stars. That was because the shining human emperor's seal in Night Sorrow's hand was firmly placed on the back of his head. When Rainshu's leaned forward, Night Sorrow spun his body and the human emperor's seal covered Rainshu's face from bottom to top. Blood, flesh, and teeth flew everywhere. A large seal flattened Rainshu's face. You lie down too. Night Sorrow swung his hand again, shattering Maple's bones. He hadn't recovered yet, and his face was full of shock. You wanted to kill me, so I didn't hit you unjustly. Night Sorrow bent down and smacked him twice, knocking him out completely. Shall we kill Li Zongyuan? Disciplined Demon King asked Puluo. Let's do it. We'll split the loot equally. Puluo nodded because they saw Night Sorrow taking Rainshu's and Maple's storage ring. After speaking, Puluo and Great Demon King disappeared in a flash. They went to another courtyard, which was Li Zongyuan's territory. Night Sorrow tidied up a bit and walked out of Rainshu's courtyard. Sister Xian, I thought we would have to fight a tough battle. But they weren't vigilant at all and were knocked down just like that. Without vigilance, they are trash who have never experienced a life and death battle. They have high cultivation but low ability, Lin Xianer said while looking at the courtyard. Where are the other 2? Night Sorrow asked. Those 2 daring and reckless people probably went to cause trouble, Lin Xianer said. Other than Puluo and the Great Demon King, no one else had the idea of slapping a brick on the heads of the human race's patriarchs and emperor-level cultivators. In just a moment, Puluo and Great Demon King came back. Great Demon King was holding a piece of armor in his hand. Go back quickly and erase the imprint. That old thing is going to wake up soon. Great Demon King shouted and then disappeared in a flash. Puluo flashed and chased after him. What's going on? That's Li Zongyuan's armor. They took it off. Lin Piaomiao was puzzled. She thought there would be a big battle. After all, Li Zongyuan was an emperor. When Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao returned to the courtyard, Great Demon King and Puluo were refining things. One was refining the armor, the other was refining the storage ring. Done. Great Demon King and Puluo opened their eyes one after the other. At this moment, a shocking roar came from afar. It's too late to wake up now. Puluo, hurry up and see if there's anything good. Return the broken storage ring to him later. Great Demon King said to Puluo. Then Puluo threw things into the courtyard. They were all found in the storage ring. There's a lot of Holy Spirit stones and materials. You 3 divide them. I only want this armor. Great Demon King waved his arm and divided the resources on the ground into 3 piles. We can't take this. Night Sorrow shook his head. Hurry up and take it. You don't have to be the scapegoat. Hurry up, he's coming. Puluo took his share and then urged Night Sorrow and Datura. Night Sorrow and Datura looked at each other, and then took it. Great Demon King took out a jar of wine and poured 4 bowls. Divided the loot. Let's wait for the troublemaker to come. At this moment, the door of the courtyard was kicked open. Li Zongyuan came in with disheveled hair. He looked miserable. There was a big bump on the back of his head. There was a big red and shiny bump on his forehead. There were no teeth in his mouth. Pu Luo, Great Demon King, are you crazy? Hurry up and give me my storage ring and armor. Li Zongyuan's mouth was leaking air, so it was hard for him to speak. This broken ring is for you. Pu Luo threw the empty storage ring to Li Zongyuan. Armor. Li Zongyuan looked at Great Demon King. What armor? Li Zongyuan, are you thinking too much? I don't know. Great Demon King took the armor and put it on. I'll go find the Grand Elder and ask for an explanation. Li Zongyuan pointed at Great Demon King and turned to leave. You don't even know that your storage ring has lost its mark. You just left like that? Great Demon King muttered as he watched Li Zongyuan leave. Just as Great Demon King finished speaking, a roar came again. Night Sorrow, I'll kill you. What does this have to do with me? Yi Xiu opened and closed his mouth twice before saying this. He thought that Great Demon King and Pu Luo were the ones who asked for help. Lin Xianair said. It doesn't matter. His teeth are gone. How can he bite me? But I'm very puzzled. I didn't hear any fighting just now. How did you succeed? Night Sorrow asked. We went. Pu Luo said he had something to discuss. Li Zongyuan got up to make tea. Pu Luo hugged him, and I gave him a hard blow from behind. But the blow on his forehead and the teeth in his mouth were all done by Pu Luo, Great Demon King said as he waved the brick. Chapter 1750. In the small space, the Grand Elder's face turned blue when he heard Li Zongyuan's angry complaint. This had never happened before. Okay, you go back first. I'll ask them later. The Grand Elder waved his hand at Li Zongyuan. Grand Elder, Night Sorrow is the one behind all this. Li Zongyuan emphasized again before leaving. After Li Zongyuan left, the Grand Elder thought for a while and smiled. He felt that Night Sorrow was a capable person. Pu Luo was not someone who would easily communicate with others. There were not many human elders who could talk to him. The reason why he could get along with Night Sorrow was because of Night Sorrow's charisma. The Great Demon King was the same. He was a person who would fight whenever there was a disagreement. Therefore, he also got along with Night Sorrow. After closing his eyes and meditating for a while, the Grand Elder left and walked towards Night Sorrow's courtyard. Night Sorrow, pack up quickly. The Grand Elder is here. Pu Luo shouted at Night Sorrow because Night Sorrow was sorting out the maple leaves, rain shoes, and the resources that had just been distributed. As soon as Night Sorrow put them away, the Grand Elder walked in with the coiling dragon spear. What a great harvest! Grand Elder, nice to meet you. Night Sorrow stood up and saluted. Pu Luo, the Great Demon King, and Lin Piaomiao also stood up and saluted. It's good that you guys are together. It's very harmonious. This is what our Tianhuang city needs. The Grand Elder sat down and said. Grand Elder, did someone complain to you? Pu Luo looked at the Grand Elder and asked. So be it. Are you guys afraid? Besides, Enforcer Elderly said that Yishan was exiled, so there must be a reason for him to be exiled. So there must be a reason why he was robbed. He didn't rob anyone else, right? Said the Great Elder with a smile. The Grand Elder knows right from wrong. Pu Luo exhaled. However, all of you should take it easy. One Night Sorrow is enough to give me a headache, and all of you still want to blindly kick up a fuss? Night Sorrow did a good job. Next time, if you want to rob someone, let me know first. I won't stop you, but you should be prepared. It's a sin to lose your teeth at such an old age. The Grand Elder glared at Pu Luo. He shook his head at Night Sorrow and left. That's it. Great Demon King looked at Night Sorrow and Pu Luo in surprise, then looked at Lin Piaomiao. It's done. I guess the Grand Elder didn't punish us for Night Sorrow's sake. Pu Luo nodded. Night Sorrow, if you want to teach someone a lesson, just call us. Pu Luo, you won't leave the heavenly wasteland city anytime soon, right? I can't leave either, the Great Demon King said. After a while, Pu Luo and Great Demon King left, leaving only Night Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao. I'll go tidy up a room. Lin Xianair's face was a little red. Sister Xianair, you're staying here? Night Sorrow was stunned. Nonsense. If I don't stay here, what if Li Zongyuan comes to take revenge on you? Lin Piaomiao glanced at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled. He knew that Lin Piaomiao was doing this for his own good. You're too daring. However, it's very satisfying. Some people have to be dealt with. Do you have a plan for the negotiation? After tidying up the room, Lin Piaomiao looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Not much. It's just a meeting gift. No matter how much resources you give, I won't give you Mo Tianji's body either, Night Sorrow said. I didn't know that you were so evil. Lin Piaomiao said to Night Sorrow with a smile. Night Sorrow also smiled. Actually, he didn't think of himself as a good person. He had killed many people over the years. However, he had a clear conscience. They were all people who deserved to be killed. In the middle of the courtyard was the hall. Night Sorrow was in the room on the right. He placed a praying mat and sat quietly. Lin Xianair placed a reclining chair in the room on the left and rested on it. After meditating for a while, Night Sorrow woke up. Because the night in Tianhuang City was very cold, and the surroundings were filled with nirvana tide, the temperature was a little low. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow took a blanket from the room and gently walked over, covering Lin Xianair who was lying on the reclining chair. You're awake? Lin Piaomiao opened her eyes. More $1 new G most unspecified currency fast, plus /. I didn't sleep. I'm tidying up what I've learned in the past. Night Sorrow nodded. You have a lot of room for improvement now. I can't. When my original body cultivates, sometimes I won't have any gains for a long time, let alone my doppelgangers. Doppelgangers sleep when they need to, Lin Piaomiao said. Maybe it's because I haven't cultivated for long and there are too many things that I need to tidy up. So even with 3 doppelgangers, I don't have enough time, Night Sorrow said. You're at the stage where you're building your foundation. It's also the stage where you have the most inspiration. Don't be anxious. Take it one step at a time and maintain this momentum. Although it's difficult, it can be done with time. It's rare to have a fighting strength that far surpasses your realm. This is the benchmark to judge whether a cultivator is outstanding or not, Lin Piaomiao said. I understand. Thank you Sister Xianair for taking care of me during this period of time, Night Sorrow said. You're only saying thank you to me? Lin Piaomiao sat up straight. It's not like that. Let's talk about it after you calm down, okay? Night Sorrow was a little unnatural. He knew about Lin Piaomiao's situation. He also knew that Lin Piaomiao treated him this way because she had feelings for him. I thought you were going to reject me. Lin Piaomiao lay down again. Yeah, I didn't. Night Sorrow shook his head. He took out a robe and covered Lin Piaomiao's body. I don't know where my feelings come from, but I'm deeply in love. After Lin Piaomiao finished speaking, she pulled the blanket over her face. Her words were her feelings. Actually, it was also a confession. I got it. Night Sorrow patted Lin Piaomiao's hand and returned to the main hall. When he heard Lin Piaomiao's words, his heart trembled. Because if she wasn't deeply in love, she wouldn't have said such words. What do you know? Lin Piaomiao pulled down the blanket and revealed her face. I know what I need to know. Sister Xianair, please rest. Night Sorrow sat on the futon and meditated. However, his heart couldn't calm down. He just sat there. The next 2 days were peaceful. Li Zongyuan didn't come to find trouble with Night Sorrow. On the other hand, Pu Luo and the Great Demon King came to Night Sorrow's place to drink every day. Lu Qi also came once. When he saw Pu Luo and the Great Demon King at Night Sorrow's place, he wasn't surprised. So you guys have been fooling around together. Elderly came to find me and said that you guys were in cahoots. You guys stole his storage ring and armor, and even injured 2 of his disciples. Lu Qi said. Elder 7, what do you say? Pu Luo looked at Lu Qi and asked. Isn't that simple? Ask him to find the Grand Elder. Night Sorrow makes tea. I want the tea from Twilight Tea House. Lu Qi pointed at the teapot. I'm a little nervous seeing Elder 7. Night Sorrow said while holding the teapot. Chapter 1751. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He only glanced at Pu Luo and the Great Demon King. Li Zongyuan was robbed, and he was the scapegoat. The Grand Elder and the Seventh Sect Elder believed that he was the mastermind. I'm just here to take a look. Seeing that you're living a carefree life, I'm relieved. However, be careful that one day, someone might take you down. Lu Qi reminded Yi Shang. He was worried that Li Zongyuan would take revenge on Yi Shang. Li Zongyuan was an emperor, and was the leader of a faction. He had many disciples and many of them had higher cultivation than Knight Sorrow. Thank you, Seventh Sect Elder. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands at Lu Qi. It's nothing. The elders have been talking about you for the past 2 days, saying that you're a bad influence. But I think it's passion. Otherwise, the heavenly desolate city would be like a pool of stagnant water. They weren't in the heavenly desolate city before, but now they're not leaving. Lu Qi looked at the three and said with a smile. After chatting for a while, Lu Qi left. He was just here to take a look. He wasn't worried about Knight Sorrow causing trouble. The Grand Elder wasn't worried either. What could the Merit Emperor do? Even if he made a move, he would only hurt those who weren't virtuous enough. Knight Sorrow, can we discuss something? The Great Demon King looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. Tell me, what is it? Knight Sorrow looked at the Great Demon King and asked. There is a sect elder in the desolate city. He isn't a good person. I didn't teach him a lesson in the past because I didn't want to cause a commotion. I didn't want the Grand Elder and the Seventh Sect Elder to be angry. Let's go and take him down. The Great Demon King said. If I don't go, who knows if you are going to take a good or bad person? In the end, the Grand Elder and the Seventh Sect Elder always come to talk to me. Knight Sorrow shook his head. What do you mean by taking a good person? That's a scum. His name is Bansha. He's just a small sect elder who keeps shouting about banning this and banning that. Ask Puluo and her if I'm lying? The Great Demon King pointed at Lin Piaomiao agitatedly. Sect Elder Puluo, is Sister Xianer for real? Yi Shang asked. It's true. I don't like that bastard either. However, it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. I'll do it. But what do you mean by little lousy elder? You weren't even an elder in the past, alright? Puluo was dissatisfied when he heard the Great Demon King scold the elders. He was also an elder, but he was just an elder of the law enforcement elder rank. Why do you mind? I'm not talking about you, the Great Demon King said. Since he's scum, let's do it. Knight Sorrow nodded. The next few days were chaotic because after Li Zongyuan, 2 more human sect elders were knocked down by Knight Sorrow and the other 3's black bricks. The Great Demon King had a bad reputation, so some people were on guard against him. However, Puluo had a good reputation, so no matter who he visited, everyone would receive him. While they were drinking tea, he suddenly stood up and hugged her. Then the Great Demon King, Knight Sorrow and Lin Piaomiao appeared. Lin Piaomiao didn't make a move and just watched. However, Knight Sorrow and Great Demon King both threw out their black bricks. Black hand. The Great Demon King's hand was very black. Those who were hit would be paralyzed for a few days. In just a few days, Knight Sorrow and the other 3 had become a plague. No matter who they visited, no one would receive them. The Grand Elder was in seclusion. The 7 sect elders said that they had gained enlightenment and didn't want to see anyone. By the way, Knight Sorrow, it was Xiao Jun who exiled you. Why don't I see you taking revenge on him? Puluo looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. He didn't see me and we don't have any grudges. He probably exiled me because of his personality. It's not that he's a bad person. Forget it. Knight Sorrow said. It's good that you think this way. Actually, I've been waiting for you these few days. If you want to hit Xiao Jun, I'll advise you. He's ruthless, but he did contribute to the human race and can admit his mistakes. You were exiled for 8 years and he's been reflecting on his mistakes, Puluo said. He's been reflecting on himself for 8 years. I've been hunted for 8 years. Knight Sorrow still felt it was unfair. However, he didn't cause trouble for Xiao Jun because he knew what was right and wrong. No. The desolate cliff of desolation in Desolation City is an area where time accelerates. Under the influence of the tide of nirvana, time accelerates by 40 times. You were exiled for 8 years while he reflected on himself for 300 years. If you didn't come back, he would probably continue to reflect on himself. Lin Piaomiao explained to Night Sorrow. Then we're even. What's left is that Bai Chu Yuan. I'll definitely kill that guy. Night Sorrow's face was filled with killing intent. He wouldn't let Bai Chu Yuan and Celestial Sect off no matter what. That guy was exiled from Desolation City. Why don't we go and hit him now? If he's not in Desolation City, we'll wait for a while, Pu Luo said. That Bai Chu Yuan is the same as Celestial Sect. Both of them aren't good people. If Celestial Sect hides in his small world and doesn't come out, I'll kill him when he comes out, the Great Demon King said. They were both experts on the Celestial and Demon rankings, but the difference between Celestial Sect and the Great Demon King was huge. Previously, Celestial Sect's Saint Emperor was forced to self-destruct by the Great Demon King. His original body left the Celestial Realm and entered other realms. The Great Demon King couldn't catch him. On the new Sunas 6, just as Night Sorrow was planning to cultivate his alchemy skills, Mo Lu came to Desolation City once again. The negotiations had to continue, so this time he brought a greeting gift. Without a greeting gift, Night Sorrow didn't want to negotiate with him. This was something he couldn't do. This time, there was one more person following Night Sorrow to the City Gate Tower. The Great Demon King was following. May I ask if you've brought a greeting gift? Night Sorrow shouted from the top of the City Gate Tower. Mo Lu nodded. With a toss of his right hand, a storage ring flew to the top of the City Gate Tower and landed in Night Sorrow's hand. Without a soul imprint, Night Sorrow easily found out what was inside. 10 million Saint Spirit Stones, some herbs and red fruits. I say, Great Elder of the Demon Wing Clan, are you kidding me? 10 million Saint Spirit Stones? Is your Demon Wing Clan that poor? I spent a few million Saint Spirit Stones to go to Desolation Mountain once. Why are you giving me rotten fruits? We humans don't have any fruits to eat, right? A red fruit appeared in Night Sorrow's hand. That's the Cloud Dragon fruit. It can strengthen your body. I think it suits you, so I gave you 5. That's a top-grade fruit that can only be produced once in a million years. The corner of Mo Lu's eyes twitched. What Cloud Dragon fruit? That's also a fruit. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I need sincerity. You don't have any sincerity at all. Last time, I found a woman's body in Desolation Mountain. She offered 30 million Saint Spirit Stones for it. If I sold it, I wouldn't be short of 10 million Saint Spirit Stones. You're giving me 10 million Saint Spirit Stones as a greeting gift? Are you kidding me? Yes, I'm poor and have no resources, but I have high tastes. Go back and think about it. If we want to negotiate, we need to show sincerity. 5 monarchs of your Demon Wing clan tried to kill me, but I came out to negotiate with you. That's my sincerity. Now it's up to you. Night Sorrow turned and walked down the City Gate Tower. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.